should know. I have never really liked you at all. I cannot hide it anymore. I've been thinking about the future, trying to forget about the past. So many ways that I could change for the better.
This is a true crime discussions channel. We speculate. This is all just speculation. Because it's true crime, it's for mature audiences only. There will be no children allowed, no exceptions. Everything on this channel falls under fair use. Please remember to like, comment, subscribe, and share. It's free.
Hey y'all, happy Saturday. It's good to see y'all. I'm so glad y'all are here. I see Thomas McCarthy, Abellis, Chow, Jenny Jen, Cracker Jacks, Hannah UK, Jenny Jen, Andy, Queen Olive. Hold on just a minute. Okay, sorry. I see Paramandy. Anders is here. Good to see you. One sunny day is here. Sam is here. Kat is here. I'm glad you caught alive too, Kat. Oh, my chat jumped. Okay, I think I'm all the way at the top. I saw that Joy was here too. And Southern Cats, good to see you. I'm so glad y'all are here today. Oh my goodness. Okay, so let me tell you, this morning has been crazy. I've been so busy. And I was trying to get the audio to upload with an overlay, but unfortunately I didn't have time. And I want to listen to it with you guys. Without like having listened to it first, I want to listen to it with y'all. And like we all react to it together hearing it the first time. You know what I mean? So I'm going to play it from my media player. Unfortunately, there will be no overlay. I did try to just throw up some overlays and get it to upload like that, but the file is so big that it just wouldn't work in the amount of time that I had because I had a lot of stuff going on. So we're going to listen to it and react to it together. Now, this is going to be audio from Jessica Kelley. Oh, and there's pictures that I'm looking at now that I haven't seen. Oh, wow. Okay. So I reckon we'll use those as an overlay. Here, we can look at the pictures real quick while I talk about it. So I wish they were turned the other way. What does that do? Oh, look it. I'm so daggum smart. I ought to have a diploma, a degree. Okay. Hey, Lori Ann, good to see you. Indy, I think I said hey to you, but just in case. Play a recap, please. Okay, hold on. Okay, so this is the Victoria Martens case. Victoria Martens was found murdered, and decapitated in a bathtub in New Mexico. I think it was 2016. She lived at the house with her mother, Michelle, Fabian, Michelle's boyfriend, and Jessica Kelley was there, and that was Fabian's cousin. Poor Victoria was murdered by Jessica Kelley and an unknown male. They found unknown male on her neck, and I think somewhere else, unknown male DNA. So Jessica Kelley was sentenced to 44 years for the homicide. Fabian got 37 and a half years for reckless child endangerment, and the mother only got 12 years. And if you hear the mother's interrogation, she admits to all of these like horrific things, like basically meeting men on Plenty of Fish and letting them come and rape her daughter. But then you find out through a police release that there was a lot of
This is the story of
false it was basically a false admission, false confession. That's the word I'm looking for. So I will play this first part. It gives us the two first police narratives, and that will give us an idea of kind of the case and where we're at. And I will release this audio hopefully later tonight. Also, real quick before we get started, I am supposed to do a live stream tomorrow at noon, so we'll probably have a surprise pop-up live tomorrow because usually I'm not live on Sundays. But I'm going to dual stream with True Crime Addict, and we're going to talk about Stefan. So that will be at noon, so about an hour and a half before usual time. All right, so this is two police narratives that kind of give us a little bit of an idea of what's going on in this case. I used the Freedom of Information Act to get information on a case out of New Mexico. This is the story of Victoria Martens. We're going to start with two police narratives that I did, and I will be putting out the interrogation. Basically, I want to get to the bottom of this case because I don't understand exactly what happened, who was responsible, and why the mother only got 12 years. If you're curious, as am I, to find out what happened, let's go through these together as I start dropping the information that I obtained. On August 24th, 2016, around 4:35, officers were dispatched to 4701 Irving Boulevard Northwest, number 808 and number 407, in reference to a disturbance. The anonymous caller told 911 operators that she lives in apartment number 407. She said her female and male neighbors from apartment number 808 had come to her home with injuries and told her they were attacked by their friend. I arrived on scene with Officer Inyert, and we approached apartment number 407 to speak with the caller and other subjects. The door was answered, the female caller, and she pointed me to a male and a female just inside her front door. The male had a black eye, and the female had a large cut to her forehead. I then spoke to the female with the cut, who appeared afraid and was shaking. She stated that within the last few minutes, she was awoken by her friend Jessica. She said that Jessica had struck her in the head with an iron, but did not elaborate on what an iron was. Jessica then asked her, "Do you believe in God?" and struck her several more times. The male subject with a black eye nodded in agreement as the female spoke, and he said that Jessica was still inside of their apartment, number 808, with their 10-year-old daughter. At this point, Officer Inyert and myself went to apartment number 808. As I approached the apartment, I walked up a flight of stairs on the outside. I got to the top of the stairs and observed a heavyset white female had opened the front door to apartment number 808. She was wearing a blue shirt and black pants. When this female opened the door, I announced that we were the police. The female went inside the door, closed it, and I heard a clicking sound consistent with the door locking. I ran to the door and tried to open it. The door opened a few inches, but was held by a locking latch about 6 feet high on the other side. I then made announcements into the small opening that we were the police and called for Jessica to come and open the front door. While I continued to make announcements, I heard someone from the parking lot below yell, quote, "That's her," unquote. I looked into the parking lot and observed the same white female who I saw open the front door. She was walking with a limp from around the north side of this apartment building. Officer Landavazo was on scene in the parking lot at this time. I told him to detain the female in the blue shirt. When he approached the female and tried to put her in handcuffs, she pulled away and yelled at him. I then went to help Officer Landavazo. He and Officer Inyert held the female's arms behind her back, and I placed her into handcuffs.
Come here. Come here. Come here.
I didn't do nothing.
Come here.
That's Jessica Kelley speaking to police in August 2016.
Hey,
No, I didn't do nothing.
stop.
In the video, police confront Kelley, who is limping after jumping off a balcony.
Why'd you lock the door?
Somebody just started a fire and I went over the balcony, dude. APD officers were there initially that night after a call about a fire at the apartment where Victoria Martens lived with her mother, Michelle, and her mother's boyfriend, Fabian Gonzalez.
What were you fighting about?
She woke up and asked where her daughter was.
Uh-huh.
I don't know where she's at, dude.
Okay. No, we got her. She's in another apartment.
Huh?
Did you hit her? Did you hit her?
Huh?
Did you hit somebody?
She hit me and I hit her back. As one officer talks to Kelley to get her side of the story, a couple of other officers go into the apartment, not knowing what they'll find. When they finally come out, their demeanor is changed. They seem upset.
Put it in your car, man. You're gonna
My leg's broken. I just got thrown off the balcony.
You didn't get thrown off. You jumped off. I saw you close the door.
The officers then get a call from dispatch.
Can you advise what we're looking at here? Male, female, close breathing?
Walk.
No.
Female 10.
No! Before they reach the officer's car, Kelley tells them there was another person with her in the apartment.
Who else was in the apartment with you? Where's the other guy?
He took off. He started trying to wipe blood up. And they started panicking.
Who's the other guy?
I don't know his name. They call him Cote.
Officers on scene still had not found the 10-year-old female, and I was worried about her safety.
Now, we found out from listening to trial that apolte means the crazy, and she said that that was just a name she made up. Jessica Kelley is the audio that we're listening to, and everybody wanted to know her story because she is the only one that was in the house when the child was murdered, sexually assaulted, and decapitated. And she lawyered up immediately. But in the trial, they talk about Fabian's lawyer because Fabian is the only one who went to trial. Jessica and Michelle, which is Victoria's biological mother, took a plea deal. In Fabian's trial, Fabian's lawyer says to Jessica, so you didn't talk to anybody for 2 years. You had 2 years to get your story straight before you actually talked to the district attorney. And so that made me think, there is an audio file of Jessica's story, and it's got to be with the district attorney's office. So I sent an email, a FOIA, to the district attorney's office in Albuquerque, New Mexico, and they sent me over these files. So it's going to be Jessica's side of the story, and it's never been heard before, not even in court. So I think it'll be interesting. Orange Rose, congratulations on your son's graduation. I'm sorry, it took me a second to go back and read that. That is amazing, and I'm so happy for you and very proud of your son. That is an awesome achievement. I'm so happy. That's so awesome. Congratulations.
At this time, I heard the fire alarm sounding from apartment number 808. I ran to the apartment with Officer Inyart, and the door was still locked. Fearing for the safety of the female child, who still may be inside the apartment, I used my feet to kick open the door and made entry into the apartment. I saw a kitchen to the immediate forward from the doorway. I then made my way to the right again and into a large bedroom. I did not see anyone in that large bedroom area. I then made my way into the bathroom attached to the large bedroom and did not see anyone inside. I then went back into the living room and went to a hallway opposite of the large bedroom. I went to the left and into a small bedroom. I did not see anyone inside of this room. I then went into the bathroom next to this bedroom. Once inside the bathroom, I observed a female child wrapped in a blanket and on fire while lying in the bathtub. I asked Officer Inyart if he had a fire extinguisher in his car. I then went to the living room and found a blanket on the floor. I went back to the bathroom and I used my hands wrapped with the blanket to put out the fire surrounding the female. The female appeared unconscious and did not move. The skin on her right leg was blackened and appeared to be burned from the fire. Her leg appeared to have been severed and removed from her body at the middle of the thigh. I stepped into the living room area where there was less smoke and advised dispatch of the female and to have rescue arrive as quick as possible. I left the blanket on the floor in the bathroom and stepped out of the apartment at this time. I then met with Officer Landavazo and requested that he place the female in the blue shirt into his police vehicle. The female then stated that her leg was broken from jumping off the rear balcony of the apartment. I assisted Officer Landavazo with holding the female up by her arms and walked her to his vehicle. She said that her name was Jessica Kelley. She was placed into the vehicle. I had no further contact with Jessica, the female caller, or the female with the injury to her head, or the male with the black eye. I then spoke to Lieutenant Ong, who took over scene responsibilities at this time. He ordered me to block the entrance to the complex to the south at Ivering Boulevard Northwest. I remained at that post until I was relieved by Officer Harrison. I spoke to detectives from the Violent Crimes Unit and CACU to explain the above. I had no other involvement with the investigation of this case. I was dispatched to the Arroyo Villas Apartments, referenced a possible battery at 4:35 a.m. The caller stated a violent disturbance had occurred near Building 4. Officer Sennett and Officer Inyart arrived on scene prior to my arrival. On police radio, the officers on scene advised the initial disturbance occurred at Building 8 in apartment 808. As I drove up about 4:44 a.m., I observed two officers walking up the steps towards apartment 808. I walked up to the building. As I approached, I observed Officer Inyart and Officer Sennett making announcements and knocking on the door of apartment 808. Just as I reached the bottom of the stairs, I observed a female walking from around the corner, coming from the north side of Building 8. The female was stumbling and began to walk by me, walking south. As the female approached me, Officer Sennett stated to detain the female. I grabbed hold of the female's left arm. The female stated, quote, "I did not do nothing," unquote.
Come here. Come here. Come here.
I didn't do nothing.
Come here.
And, quote, "They pushed me through the window," unquote. As I held the female's left wrist, she stated, quote, "I'm scared, you guys," unquote. And at this point, Officer Sennett and Officer Inyart quickly approached. The female was placed into wrist restraints and she sat in the grass at the curb. At this time, I heard the fire alarm sound from apartment 808. I stayed with the female as Officer Sennett and Officer Inyart returned to the apartment. While the officers were inside, I spoke briefly with the female. I asked if she jumped from the second floor balcony, and the female responded, stating, quote, "I fell off the top," unquote.
Somebody just started a fire and went over the balcony, dude.
The female complained of a leg injury, stating she heard it when she jumped from the balcony. I asked the female what they were fighting about. She stated, quote, "She woke up and asked where her daughter was," unquote. The female stated she responded by stating, quote, "I don't know where she's at, dude."
What were you fighting about?
She woke up and asked where her daughter was.
Uh-huh.
I asked her, "I don't know where she's at, dude."
Unquote. I asked the female if she hit somebody. The female stated, quote, "She hit me, so I hit her back," unquote.
Did you hit her? Did you hit her?
Huh?
Did you hit somebody?
She hit me and I hit her back.
I asked who the apartment belonged to, and the female stated it belongs to her cousin Fabian and his girlfriend, Michelle. I asked if she was fighting with Michelle. The female said Michelle woke up and the female began screaming, quote, "I can't find your daughter, dude," unquote. At this time, Officer Sennett and Officer Inyart emerged from the apartment and stated the female needed to be placed in the police vehicle urgently, stating a child was found deceased in the apartment. The female was escorted to the area in front of the office. I drove my police car to this area and the female was detained in the rear of my patrol vehicle. While I interviewed and escorted the female, I noticed red on her blue top. I also noticed what appeared to be blood on her fingernails and hands. Once the female was secured.
Queen Olive, I don't know if I said hey to you, but if I didn't, hey, love, and I hope that you have a good day. Tammy, good to see you. So we got an idea. She also stated that basically, okay, in court we learned that there was a bag containing, I think, part of a liver and some other organs. Let me put up this trigger warning of the child, Victoria Martens. It was her 10th birthday, and she was left at the house with Jessica while Jessica was on methamphetamine. And sometime during that period of time, while Fabian and Michelle were out of the house, something happened. Somebody, an unknown male, came and allegedly sexually assaulted her, and then left, and Jessica started decapitating the child. There was a trash bag with organs in it in the bottom of a laundry basket, and that's going to go into the pictures. So that was going on. Fabian and Michelle get back. They're going to bed or something, claim that they didn't know anything. And then they make tacos and everybody eats tacos. And then they go back to bed. And then Jessica Kelley comes in and says, "Do you believe in God?" and smacks Michelle in the face with an iron. And then Fabian's trying to separate them, and she's trying to kill them because she says that her story is that Michelle knew and was helping to decapitate the child, and so she decides to commit the homicide on them because if Michelle's not going to stand up for her daughter or do anything to protect her daughter, then she knows she's not going to keep her mouth shut about Kelly. They run, they call 911. They go to the hospital. Jessica has to have surgery on her leg. She lawyers up immediately. Fabian and Michelle talk to the police, and those interrogations, which there are several, are on my page if you want to watch them. In court, Jessica claimed in court that she was at the house. A man came in looking for Fabian. and said, "Who's here?" And she said, "Just the little girl in her room." And this man allegedly goes in the room, commits a sexual assault on the child, kills her, walks out. Jessica's outside on the balcony smoking a cigarette this whole time and says, "Clean up the mess or I'll kill you and your children." So that's where we're at. Hey, D's nuts. Good to see you. Okay, so these are pictures. I suppose that is the laundry basket. I wasn't even aware there was pictures. Let's see. That picture needs to be like that. And I guess that's the wall. Here's where they cut the carpet maybe, and then that might be marking blood spots. There is a blanket and clothes on the floor. Thinking that's Victoria's room. That blanket, it's got blood on it or something. It's like a crib. There's a bloody rag in the living room on the coffee table. They washed clothes. That's why they're showing the dryer. The clothes in the dryer. Oh, there's the bag. Oh my goodness. I haven't been through these photos, so if I see something, I'll close out of it real quick. That's the laundry she did to try to clean the blood off of stuff. I don't know what all that is in the trash. There's the fireball that Fabian was drinking. That needs to be like that. So we got our stuff in a trash can, clothes and things, clothes out all over the floor. I guess that's where Jessica Kelley was staying. How is this one supposed to be? Oh, Lordy. There it is. So that's her stuff. There's her bag. Oh, that's the closet. They said there was a lot of stuff torn off in the closet. These are the books that she was reading, okay? She claims when she got out of jail, she was reading these books and she would make Fabian read these books about God all night to her. And she was claiming that her ex was going to get out of jail and come kill everybody. What's wrong with folks not keeping up with their homes? That place is pure filth in so many ways. Yeah, really. Let me see if I can see what it says. Oh, I can't. I will because I know I've known you something. Something to test myself is what she wrote on that one. Are my God his I. Oh, Lordy. Hold on. Let me get real close and see if I can tell y'all what it says. Are my God, it's Paniced. When I looked at myself and I left you, would art and I left, you would approve of me not sleeping and feeling and knowing this day would come. Okay. This one said, this is her like Bible book that she got from prison. Oh yeah, I forgot to tell you, she had only been out of prison for 7 days. Actually, probably 5 or 6 when she wrote this. And it had to do with sexual contact with a minor. Hey Norma, good to see you. Okay, this one says, I know it when you said taking over. I know you were my God. I write these words because something it where you were asking from. I said I could see you. you're something. And then over on the left, it's like you're in my thoughts. I know I've seen something to this matter coming, boiling, that God will see the truth. Okay? I am sitting here, I am writing to understand me and my children and my family have to die for their mistakes, but God forgives. I will give him all of me to have all of him in my heart. Truth sets us free. Lordy have mercy. See, she was out of her head. She was on that damn methamphetamine and out of her damn mind. Hey, Rachel, these people are, she's just plain evil. Satan's blasphemy on the good book is what those notes are. I agree. I agree wholeheartedly with that. So that's the baby wipes. She talks about, they talk about a baby wipes container in the case, and that's that baby wipes container. So I didn't see, I mean, you know, the bag of or the grocery bag that we know what's in it is kind of jarring. I only saw one other photo that we don't really need to see. And that bloody rag could have been from Michelle's face because her face was like pouring blood when she got smacked with the iron. And Jessica's pocketbook was on top of everything in the laundry basket. So that makes a difference. Okay. I'm going to try to pull up this audio. Like I said, oh, it's not going to let me. Unless I do it like that. You'll see my mouse move. I don't have an audio. I'm going to, since I have pictures, I'm going to overlay pictures with the audio. If you guys feel like you want to go back and listen to it, I don't know that if you hear it here that you'll want to listen to it again. It's just interesting to finally have her side of everything. Hey, Ginger Snaps, good to see you. With addicts that far gone, Victoria never had a chance. Oh, yeah, that reminds me. Let me tell you. So Victoria, okay, Michelle's boyfriend before Fabian, hold on just a minute. Okay, Michelle's boyfriend before Victoria, I forget his name, but Michelle worked at Bye Bye Baby. David Hernandez is his name, and she met this guy named David Hernandez there, and she was dating him. And she says David Hernandez tried to kiss Victoria, so she called CPS and she kicked him out of the house. CPS turned the investigation over to the police, and nothing was ever done about it. There was several other CPS calls during this time frame saying the children were always hungry, their clothes were looking like they weren't being taken care of, and the children still stayed with Victoria. Now, when she saw this man that she was dating, David Hernandez, try to kiss her daughter, Victoria, who was 10 years old, or younger at the time, actually, she said that she had both Matthew and Victoria taken in to be checked, okay, to make sure that nothing had happened. And she says that the doctor said that they were fine, that nothing was happening. When the homicide happened, we find out that Victoria had been being sexually assaulted for some time and that she had HPV, which is a STD that's transmitted. Basically, a male is with a female and then a male is with another female, and that's how it gets transmitted, from my understanding. And the little brother admitted to somebody assaulting him as well. In the autopsy, she had trauma to the back door, but again, she had been being assaulted for some time. Fabian, I feel like Fabian didn't do it. There was no DNA from Fabian on Victoria, but to be fair, there was no DNA from Jessica on Victoria either, and we know for a fact that Jessica is the one who took the organs out and decapitated her, so I don't know. There was unknown male DNA on her that still has not been found to this day. So just so we're all kind of caught up on everything. We've been covering this case for a while, so there's a lot to it. We've spent probably 2 weeks straight on it over a time period. So I kind of wanted to, when I think of things, I'm trying to kind of recap it so you guys will understand, those of you who haven't been here for those. So I'll get started on this audio. This is Jessica Kelley talking to the district attorney September 6th of 2018. Let me know if y'all can hear it or not because it's going to, I sometimes like there's issues sharing audio. I'll have to double check it. And I will put this video out later and with overlays and things. Okay, thank you. Okay, I got some people saying audio is good. Tom, if you can't hear anything, try to go out and come back in and I'll type it. Okay, Rachel's saying no audio. Okay, hold on. Let me try this again. Hold on just a minute. I'm going to try it again. Da-da-da-da. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Hey, Granny's watching. Good to see you. Okay. Okay, it should be good. You hear me. You hear me, but not what's being said on this media player. Hold on. Can you hear? I know it'll take a second, but can you hear that? Actually, I might as well just go back to the. Hey, Spencer. Very, very low. Okay. What on earth? All right. Let's try this because I think I do have it on YouTube, but it's not got overlay. I gotta go in the studio and grab the link because it's unlisted. No. Shit. Okay. Mm, let me see. I don't know how to share it otherwise. Dang it. Yeah, I don't have it. Okay. Let me do it this way. I guess I'll do it from my phone. Okay, no thank you.
Okay.
We'll have to do
Today
it like
is
this.
Wednesday, August 22nd, 2018. The time now is approximately 9:34 a.m. My name is Rich Lewis. I'm a detective with the Albuquerque Police Department. And why don't we start to my right, and we'll kind of work our way around the room and everybody identify themselves for the tape. That way it makes it a lot easier for who's transcribing this to know who's talking at what time.
I'm Bria Rose with the District Attorney's Office.
Megan Mitsunaga, counsel for Ms. Kelley.
Mark Ernest, attorney for Ms. Kelley.
Craig Martin, investigator for Megan and Mark.
And I'm Jessica Kelley.
Okay, good morning to everybody. You're bearing with us when we're working through some logistics. I know you've spoke to your attorneys regarding what we call a Castigar letter. This is always a difficult part. I've done it both ways where we do and do not advise people of their Miranda rights. Under advice from the district attorney's office, we're going to go ahead and advise you of Miranda rights. I suspect that your attorney told you that we're going to do this. I don't want to say it's technicality, it's Miranda rights, and it is what it is, okay? So let me read these to you, and I'll just read them off on the form, and then I'll have you and your attorney review the form, and then we'll get started, okay? Before I do this, how would you like me to address you during this interview? Miss Kelley, Jessica?
Jessica.
Okay. I'm Rich, okay? I'm pretty easy to get along with. As we talked about before I turn the recorders on, if I ask you a question you don't understand it, please ask me. If you're uncomfortable with a question at any time, we will stop the interview and you can confer with your team, okay? If a lot of times I won't understand what you're saying, and it's very common, I may say, this is what I'm hearing. If I'm not getting it right, let me know. This is your statement, not my statement, okay? And the only thing I'm going to ask, and I'm sure your team has told you, is all I care about is the truth, okay? I will never try to put words in your mouth. If I make a mistake and do that, please correct me. And I'm sure your attorneys are very good. They will correct me instantly, okay? We don't want me talking. I want to listen to you talk, okay? All right, any questions before I read the Miranda rights? Any questions from anybody? Okay. Okay, you have the right to remain silent. Anything you say can be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer for advice before we ask you questions, and to have the lawyer present with you while we ask you questions.
Okay, I put up this video so you have something to look at while we're listening, and I'm trying to hold it to the microphone. So this video is not going to match the audio. It's just so you kind of have something to look at.
Cannot afford a lawyer. One will be appointed at no cost to you before we ask you any questions, if that is your desire. If you decide to answer questions now without a lawyer present, but you do have your lawyers present, you will still have the right to stop answering my questions at any time until you talk to a lawyer. So on that last one, that's what we've talked about. If there's something that you don't understand or you're not comfortable with, we will stop and you can confer with your team, okay? All right. Let me fill this in real quick. Mind if I step over? Okay. So I want you to just go ahead and review this with your attorneys. That's from right here to right here is what I just read to you. So my next questions to you is, you have been advised of your constitutional rights, you understand them. If you feel you've been advised, you understand, you'll sign there. And then if you could read this part here, this is the waiver down here. And if you read these two paragraphs, and if you agree to be talked to us now, even with your lawyers present, if you will sign here for me.
Let me just say, Jessica, that this is routine. This is sort of a formality. You shouldn't be nervous about this because it's our position that the protections afforded by this letter sort of supersede this. Okay? Despite answering or signing this, you're you're still protected under the Castigar letter. So I think it's okay to sign.
So I sign this and I read this and then I sign this?
Correct. The first part is the advisement that you understand those are the rights I read you. The second part is you're waiving and you're speaking with me today.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
So I just read these two paragraphs and I sign this?
Yes, ma'am.
I have read this statement of my rights and I understand what my constitutional rights are. I have been advised of and understand my constitutional rights in this matter. I am willing to make a statement and answer questions. I do not want a lawyer at this time. I understand, I know what I am doing. No promises or threats have been made to me or no pressure of coercion.
And I guess I'll add for the record that there has been promises. There is a Castigar letter that's on file that's been signed off through the DA's office and your defense team. So I know this form doesn't really work for a Castigar type interview, but it's, as your attorney said, it is routine for us.
Okay.
Is there a
You
witness?
want me to sign this?
If you want to sign for a witness.
Entire. Sorry, my nails are making me mess up trying to write. I apologize. Hey, Rhonda.
Thank you.
Okay, it's all good. We'll get a copy of that too.
Absolutely. Okay, Jessica, it's my understanding that you want to speak to us today about the incident that occurred almost exactly 2 years
Red.
ago where Victoria Martens passed away. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. It gets difficult if we start answering each other. I do it too, where I go, I know you've probably heard this before. Yes, no. Instead of saying they, if you can use whatever names, if you know names, we'll work through that. It makes it a lot easier down the road to create a really good record, okay? Okay, then I'm going to let you go ahead and, just like we're visiting, just go ahead and tell me what you want to tell me.
Okay, well that morning, about 6 in the morning, I was getting high. And I got too high and I called my mom and I told her I needed to go home because I messed up. And then I started freaking out, you know what I mean? And I didn't have a Bible because usually when I freak out, when I get too high, I read the Bible.
Okay.
And all I had was The Anchor to the Soul and another book my sister sent me home with from prison. So I bring that out and I was scared. I was like, baby, and I feel like I messed up. And I went and woke him up. I'm like, will you read this over with me and help me answer this book? You know what I mean? Because I'm freaking out. He's like, oh, yeah. You know what I mean? He laid in the bed, and I sat there, and I was reading the book, and I was tripping. I was hallucinating. You know what I mean? I was freaking out. I was like, I fucked up. You know what I mean? Like, I just messed up everything I worked so hard for. You know what I mean? Doing all that time and earning my respect back with my family and my kids. You know what I mean? So I was like, I need to stop, baby. You know what I mean? I was like, I'm going to smoke this last bowl with you, and then I'm going to give this. You know what I mean? I'm going to give you my stack in this. He's like, all right, cuz. You know what I mean? And then afterwards, I guess I got up to take Victoria to school, but I stayed tripping, you know what I mean? I stayed at the house, and he's like, I'll be right back, you know what I mean? And then, like, I don't know, my mom ended up calling, and I let her know, like, I relapsed, and I was really high, and how I needed to go back home because I'm messing up out there. She's like, well, where are you? She goes, I thought you were at your friend Lori's. I said, no, I'm with Fabian. She goes, what the fuck you doing with him?
Horse lover, yeah, too high on meth, basically. And when we looked at the photos, we saw where she was writing in the books, specifically, which they talked about in trial, where she was saying, my whole family has to die because they need to atone for their sins. And, you know, Fabian, they had went to a barbecue the weekend before and his baby mama punched him in the eye, and that's why he has a black eye. It's just a bunch, in my opinion, a bunch of alleged degenerates running around, and substances were thrown into the mix, and it ended in a concoction of horrific tragedy. And this woman here has just always been Satan's mistress, and I hope she enjoys prison. We talked about it a little bit. This is the story of Victoria Martens. Okay, so real quick, I'll try to recap it again. See, you kind of have to watch the interrogations because it all starts with the interrogation. So Michelle Martens had a daughter named Victoria, and it was her 10th birthday. On her 10th birthday, She was murdered, decapitated. Her organs were removed. It's a very heavy case. She was allegedly sexually assaulted during a time period where her mother and her boyfriend were out of the house, and Jessica, the girl on the screen, and the girl that's talking is the only one in the house. Jessica is cousins with Fabian, who was dating Victoria's mother. Victoria's mother is not all there in the interrogation. She says basically she met guys online and let them come and hurt her children, but it's a false confession. But there was evidence that Victoria had been going through some things in that area of horrific tragedy for quite a while. She had HPV and damage to the back door. I try to put it as nicely as I can. Her organs were removed. They were in a bag in a laundry basket. It's real heavy case. So Jessica was high on meth and said that a man came in looking for Fabian and asked where he was. She went out to the balcony to smoke a cigarette. She came back in. He was leaving, and he said, "You need to clean up that mess." And so she goes in there, finds the child deceased, and starts decapitating. Um, excuse me. There was unknown male DNA found from a fingerprint, I do believe, on Victoria's neck, and that male has not been found to this day. Jessica Kelley is the only one in the house, and there's no audio because she lawyered up immediately. I do have audio where they give her basically the search warrant and collect DNA from her in the hospital, and that's just lovely. She's got the most beautiful mouth. Like, she's so nice to the nurses. I'm being so sarcastic. So we watched the trial, and I found out through the trial that she did talk to the district attorney. I FOIA'd that, and that's what we're listening to now. So this audio's never been heard, even at trial. It still wasn't played at trial, and she's telling her side of the story. So yeah, it's a really heavy, horrific case. It's from 2016 in Albuquerque, New Mexico.
Because the first night I got out of prison, my little sister went over to my baby daddy's because that's where I was at when I first got out.
Oh, and she had been out of prison for 7 days, and she was in prison for sexual contact with a minor. She'd been out 7 days. The 7th day, she gets arrested for all of this. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Who here's clean up that mess and then goes in there like? It's just her whole story doesn't make sense. I think she got high and did it herself, honestly. But I apologize if that was heavy. It's a heavy case. So I wish I could put like flashing lights all over everything because this is going to be hard to hear.
And let me know that Fabian's no good. Like, he's bad news. And me being the addict I am and the person I am, I'm like, maybe he just needs help. You know what I mean? And then 3 days later, after I got out of prison, he texted me, you know what I mean? So I was like, I wanted to get high, you know what I mean? I'm an addict. I was clean for all that time, but in prison I was doing Suboxone, you know what I mean? Shooting up Suboxone and stuff, so I had that urge to get high when I got out. Yeah, the first 3 days I spent with my kids and my
How the hell do you shoot up Suboxone?
family. And then Fabian kept texting me on the messenger like, hey, come beat up this girl for me. I was like, hey, I ain't gonna do that, but I want to get high, you know what I mean? I was all, I'll meet up with you later, you know what I mean? And then my sister came over and stuff, made me make her breakfast. She goes, while you're back home, you know what I mean? Do your duties, you know? So going back to that morning, I was telling my mom, like, I messed up, you know? I was like, I need you to come pick me up, but I don't know where I'm at. And she goes, well, where's Fabian? I was like, he should be coming here soon, you know what I mean? And then we stayed talking on the phone. My Uncle David called because Saturday night when I picked up my kids, Fabian wanted to get high, and he didn't have no money. I didn't want to let him know that I had money on me. So he drove to my Uncle David, and he's like, give him your EBT card and tell him that you need $15, you know what I mean? I'm like, for what? You know what I mean? He's like, give me a bottle and some gas. I'm like, whatever, and I gave him my EBT card. I didn't give him my PIN number. So that morning, it was about, I don't even know, that day my timing was off because I was hallucinating. So I was like, Uncle David, he's like, hey, give me your PIN number. I was all, ask God for it, and he starts yelling at me. I just started laughing at him. I hung up and I went back to the line to my mom. Fabian pulled up downstairs and he goes, hey, give me some gas money. I don't know if he called me or not because I was emotional talking to my mom, freaking out because I messed up. I don't know if he called me because I left that front door open, you know what I mean? Because I was tripping. I wanted to hear if somebody was going to run up on me. So I left the front door open. I went out there. I was on the phone with my mom, and I asked Fabian, hey, what's the address so my mom could come pick me up? He goes, I ain't giving you the fucking address. Nobody ain't coming over here. I was like, Fabian, for real? Like, I was like, all right, I'll respect you. You know what I mean? Like, Mom, I'll be home in the morning. And I was like, I'll call you in a little while. Fabian was like, well, you got some gas money? I had a 5 and a couple of 20s, so I just handed him a 20 because 5 ain't nothing, you know what I mean? And he's like, well, I'm going to go meet somebody. I'll be right back. And I'm like, who are you going to go meet? He's like, well, Sinner. I'm all Sinner. And I think he knew I was already hallucinating because he's done it before. And I was like, he's in prison. He's like, no, I'm gonna go meet up with him. And I'm like, all right, you know what I mean? So I was like, fuck, you know what I mean? Because Sinner don't like me getting high, you know what I mean? And I didn't do meth when he went to prison. Like, I didn't shoot up. So I was like, I'm gonna lose the man I love, my kids. My whole life is going down the drain because I got high. So I stayed in the house tripping, trying to read that book, you know what I mean? Trying to get myself back to normal. And I was just hallucinating. I left the front door cracked so I could hear whoever comes, and kept going from the balcony, kept going to the door. You know what I mean? I left the TVs off for a while, and then
Now, to be fair, we heard in trial where they play the jail calls how her sister called as she was getting Victoria off the bus, or saw her playing she didn't get her off the bus. She saw her riding the scooter and realized she was there. And she talks about how the TV's telling her to do shit. So, I mean, that makes sense so far.
put it on, and it seemed like the TVs were telling me, like, I was fucked up, you know what I mean? Like, I was like, I don't know if it's demons or what, but, like, I know I fucked up. I was just tripping, you know what I mean? I'm like, I know I messed up. I messed up my whole life today, you know what I mean? And then Fabian, I don't know what time he came back, but he came back and he went back to the bathroom. And he's all, well, where's the bowl? And I'm all, it's in the fucking trash. Because when he left it, you know what I mean? And I got paranoid. I'm like, if the cops come, I don't want it on me. You know what I mean? So I threw my sack and the bowl in the trash can. And he's like, well, where is it? I'm all, it's in the trash. Go get it. You know what I mean? He was all, do you want some? I'm all, no, I'm good. You know what I mean? I don't want none. So he went to the bathroom and started smoking. And he was gone. I took a shower. And I was getting ready because I was like, if Sinner's coming, I have to look at least half-ass sober. You know what I mean? And then he was like, well, I'll be back. I'm going to go meet him here. And it was like, he was just like confusing me because he was acting like he was going to go meet somebody. And I was like, what? Is he fucking with me? And then I didn't want to call nobody and act stupid. Like, Amanda, his baby mama called. I'm like, hey, you should come over. And she's like, well, where are you? I'm all Fabian. You know what I mean? And I was just thinking maybe I could have Amanda come pick me up. You know what I mean? Maybe because she gets high. You know what I mean? I was like, I could just have her come pick me up. I'll just pay her and go to my mom's. You know what I mean? And then, like, she's like, probably not. I'm not going over there. Fabian's there. No. You know what I mean? So I was like, all right, fine. You know what I mean? And I just stayed in the house, tripping, thinking somebody's going to come because Fabian went to go meet Sinner. And I was like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? Like, I'm fucked. You know what I mean? He's going to kick my ass. He's going to go make me go home. He's going to make me sober up. And he's going to, you know what I mean? I'm going to have to do things right now. You know what I mean? I was like, it's going to probably be a big old intervention with my family, my kids. And my kids are going to know I messed up. So I was like, tripping. You know what I mean? I'm like, they've been setting me up with my family. You know what I mean? He's setting me up. And I was like, but maybe he's setting me up with the cops because he knows I have dope on me. You know what I mean? The way he was acting, I just didn't know.
That's going to be the paranoia from the drug. That was not the drug that I used when I was abusing substances, but I've seen people do it and they do get really paranoid about everything. So, I mean, it sounds legit so far. She would definitely, especially if she was like really, really elevated, as I'll say, she would definitely be paranoid about everything. So it's adding up so far. Stiletto Cuts Quick. I like your name. Thank you for being here. Hey, Veronica. Tony said, no, we don't know what you mean. She is just rambling. This is the morning before the homicide happens. So I think she's trying to just explain where she's at mentally and kind of the situation so far. We're like at 13 minutes and 53 seconds of a 2-hour audio. And then there's a 14-minute audio after this too. So it goes on for a while. I'm sure she rambles quite a bit. Chow, thank you so much for gifting 5 memberships. I cannot see who those went to, but if you were gifted from Chow and you are aware you were gifted, please tell Chow thank you, and I will grab the crazy train and pick y'all up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much, Chow. That was so very sweet and supportive of you. I really appreciate that. Thank you. I really do. You're so sweet. Y'all are so generous. Thank you so very much. Roxanne said, hey, all, found the live number 54 on the thumbs up, watering my plants and listening to my speculating family. Have a wonderful day. I hope you have a wonderful day, sweetheart, and thank you for hitting the thumbs up. I appreciate that.
When he came back, I think he came back with Victoria and the mom. I was getting ready, you know what I mean, straightening my hair and stuff. The little girl goes in the bathroom, she goes, I want to do my hair. I'm like, no, not right now, you know what I mean, because I was freaking out, you know what I mean. I was like, just go there with your mom. And then they ended up leaving. Fabian's like, well, I'll be back, I'm going to go meet up with him. I'm like, who? And he was like, I'll just be back. And he was like, well, I'm going to go pick up an ounce from Joseph and don't even trip. And I'm like, okay, you know what I mean, whatever. And I'm like, now I know he's fucking with me, you know what I mean? So they left. I kept the door cracked, you know what I mean? I left the balcony door wide open, you know what I mean? I'm going back and forth, smoking and looking. And I'm like, when he left, I was like, buy me a pack of cigarettes, you know what I mean? Because I set some of my money down and he took it. And I was like, well, since you took my money, why don't you buy me some cigarettes, you know what I mean? Mom, I'm almost out. And when he came back, I was mad because he brought me fucking menthol. I was like, you know I don't smoke Marlboro menthol, you know I smoke, or it was a blue pack, I don't even know if it was menthol or not, but it was a blue pack. I'm like, you know I smoke Marlboro 100s, you know what I mean? And then we argued or whatever, but I don't know if he came back twice or 3 times, but I know we argued with cigarettes. And then when he left again, all of them left. And Victoria, while I was still tripping, they were gone. I kept going back and forth while I seen Victoria outside by herself. You know what I mean? And I think before that, I was on the phone with my sister Crystal. She ended up calling from prison and we're talking, you know. And I was talking to Salsa and I was talking to the Snookums. And like I was paranoid because why I was talking to Salsa is because I was supposed to get a drop ready. And I was like trying to let them know, like, I'm fucking tripping, we're recorded, like I'm tripping because of the phone. My sister knows how I get because of the phone, how I erase everything. My sister knows me, you know what I mean? Like me and my sister get high together. She knows how I am with the stupid phones. You know what I mean? I'm like, the phones will track you, you know what I mean? Especially nowadays with the GPS, I was tripping. And I was telling her, like, God, like, sinner's God, like, because she's afraid of Sinner, you know what I mean? Like, Sinner is a powerful man, you know what I mean, out on the streets. He's a big-time dope, well, he used to be a big dope dealer. His family, you know what I mean? So I was like, hey, Sinner's God, you know what I mean? I'm trying to let her know I'm fucking tripping, and she's thinking it's funny, you know what I mean? So we ended up ending the call, and after that, whatchamacallit, that's when they left. And when I went back outside to check to see if they came, Victoria was outside on her scooter. And I was like, hey, where's your mom and Fabian? I don't know. You know what I mean? I'm like, they fucking left this kid out here by herself. You know what I mean? I don't let my kids be outside like that. So I'm kind of tripping. Like, this is a big apartment complex and there's a little kid riding her scooter unsupervised. So I was like, hey, why don't you come inside with me? You know what I mean? There was 2 girls at the bottom of the stairs when we're walking up. And they're like, hey, what do you want for your birthday? And she goes, just anything or just whatever, you know what I mean? And she's like, just being a kid, you know what I mean? And they're like, all right, or whatever. And I was like, okay. But I didn't snap it was her birthday. Nobody told me it was her birthday. You know what I mean? And when we went inside, I was like, hey, are you hungry? You know what I mean? Because when my kids come home, they're hungry. So I'm like, hey, are you hungry? She's like, no, you know what I mean? I was like, well, do you want something to snack on? I was like, I have some sunflower seeds in my purse, you know what I mean? She's like, yeah, I'll take some of those, you know what I mean? So I pulled out the sunflower seeds that I had left over from my son's game, and I gave them to her. She sat on the couch with her little black book, doing her homework, watching some Frost cartoon or whatever. I'm standing by the balcony watching the front door, you know what I mean? I'm like, somebody's just gonna show up. You know what I mean? I keep thinking somebody's gonna show up. I was paranoid. You know what I mean? I was very paranoid. I'm coming down off of meth. I was up for 2 days. You know what I mean? I haven't been high like that in a long time. So I was tripping. But I was enough sense to know, like, there's a little kid here. These fuckers left him. Excuse my language, but, like, they left her outside. What is up with Fabian? You know, I'm like, what is he doing? Is he all high or what? And I didn't know if Michelle got high or not because she never got high with me. I know she drank with Fabian and did whatever with Fabian, but she seemed like she just would watch me, you know what I mean? So when they came back, we were there anyways, me and Victoria, and then she's like, well, I'm gonna go to my room and put on my pajamas and stuff. And she goes, was I?
Well, this would be 2 years. She's been in prison for 2 years at this point. She does. She has a real way with words, doesn't she? She really does. Curious.
All right, you know what I mean? She goes, go ahead and watch whatever you want. I'm gonna go to my room. I'm like, okay, you know what I mean? She went to her room and, I don't know, I changed the channel like to the news or something. I love watching the news. Especially I was tripping because Willie, he wouldn't answer his phone after he left Martens. You know what I mean? I was like, he's probably high, probably got in a car accident. It's all my fault because I got him some dope. And you know what I mean? I'm like, I just want to watch the news. I'm watching the news and I'm still paranoid with the door cracked open and some guy shows up. And he's like, hey, where's Fable? I'm all, Fable, he's not here, you know what I mean? He goes, well, who is? I'm all, me and the girl. The little girl in there. He goes, all right. And he like started going to the room. I didn't think nothing of it. I just thought like, oh, he knows what he's doing, you know what I mean? That's probably the guy Fabian said he's gonna go meet or whatever, you know what I mean? Maybe it's his homie or her dad. I don't know, you know what I mean? Because I wasn't really there. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna go and smoke, you know what I mean? So I went to the balcony and smoked and he came out. And he was like, hey, Snow Fabian fucked up. He fucked up too. And there's a mess in there that y'all gotta clean up. And if you don't, it's gonna be your life and your kids' lives. And I was like, you know what I mean? Like,
I'm sorry, what did he say when he walked out?
he said it's gonna be, he said there's a mess in there. Fabian knows he fucked up and you two gotta go clean that up. If not, it's gonna be you and your kids. He goes, all right? And I'm like, all right, I understand, you know what I mean? And in my head, I'm like, these fuckers, why are they fucking with me? You know what I mean? I just thought it was another fucking game Fabian was playing. And I waited until he left, and I was like, so I went out and looked, you know what I mean, see who was out there. I didn't see nothing, and then I went back to check on Victoria, and I checked her pulse, and she was dead. And I freaked out, and I was like, I don't know what to do, you know what I mean? I'm like, I'm on a second story. And the guy, he looked like he was a Mexican, so I was like, what if Fabian really did fuck up? That's why he's been gone all day, you know what I mean? I'm like, was he setting me up to do this, or what, you know what I mean? So I was like...
Right. That was my whole thing too, Tammy. A random man shows up and you're there alone with a child and you're just going to let him roll into the room with the child long enough to do these horrific things to this child, and then he comes out and some man's like, you need to clean up or I'm going to kill you, and then you're just like, okay, and let him leave? Like, what? She does remember a lot for being on drugs. That feels like a lie to me.
Tripping, I just laid a blanket over her and I just waited until Fabian came back. I left the door wide open then, listening, and I heard him pull up with the music blaring. Him and Michelle, you know what I mean, all buzzed. And I'm like, fuck, you know what I mean? And I went and grabbed Victoria and I was like, maybe I should just take her out there with me and just take her in the car and just tell him let's go, you know what I mean? But then as I started carrying her like a couple stairs down, like I couldn't carry her. She was too heavy, you know what I mean? So I was like, are you coming in? He's all, yeah. So I said, all right. And I took her and I laid her back in her room and I'm like, should I tell her mom? You know what I mean? And I'm like, no, don't tell her mom. You know what I mean? Just pull Fabian to the side. So when they came in, I'm like, Fabian, come smoke a cigarette with me. And he's like, all right, what's up, cuz? You know what I mean? He's all fucked up. He's like, yeah, I have to go back to Joseph's. He didn't even have the entree. Yeah. I'm like, hey, dude, somebody came and fucking was asking for you. And he went in there and he killed that little girl, and now we have to get rid of the body. He said, you're fucking with me. You know what I mean? So, shut up, Jess. I'm all, go see, dude. Like, for real, go. And he went and checked, and he came back. He's like, fuck, will you help me? I'm like, duh. I'm gonna help you, you know what I mean? I'm gonna help you with whatever there is, Fabian, because he threatened me and my kids. And apparently he knew who I was because he didn't do nothing to me. You know what I mean? I was like, so I don't know what the fuck you did, but we have something on our hands that we got to take care of. Also, and we have to take care of it because I'm going home in the morning. As soon as it's daylight, I'm out. I'm gone. You know what I mean? I can't. And I was panicking because I was like, is this for real? Is this for real? Am I tripping or is this for real? You know what I mean? And I started like sobering up, you know what I mean? And he was like, well, I'll have her cook some food and we'll eat and stuff and I'll get her to bed and we'll take turns. I'm all right, you know what I mean, whatever. My mom ended up calling while she was making dinner. After she made dinner, you know what I mean, my mom called and she's like, hey honey, how are you? You know what I mean? I'm like trying to sound as normal as possible. Well, I'm good. You know what I mean? I'll be there in the morning, you know. I'm good. I'm sobering up. I'll be there in the morning, though. You know what I mean? She's like, okay, honey, I'll see you in the morning. Well, I was talking on the phone. Michelle's just sitting next to me, just staring at me. I'm like, I'm tripping. I'm like, oh my God, this is just a fucking mess. Like, my life is over. My life is over. I just kept thinking, my life is over. I'm not going to make it out of this apartment. Like, they're going to come in here. The Mexicans are going to come in here and kill us all. You know what I mean? So I'm tripping. And then, like, I had my books, my Anchor to the Soul books, and they were on the shelf. And I'm like, my purse is in the little boy's room with all my stuff. So I was like, Fabian, go ahead and put her to sleep and then come out and we'll you know what I mean? Go take the body, you know what I mean? And when he came back out, he was like, well, I'll go in first. I was like, all right, cool, you know what I mean? He goes, you keep watch. And I kept watch, you know what I mean? And I'm like, what's taking him so long, you know what I mean? I went in there and he already had her with her clothes off, her laying out on some plastics, and he had one arm off. He's like, well, help me. I'm like, all right. So I held the arm while he was cutting the other arm. And just from the smell, I guess, and the whole situation, I almost got sick. And I was like, I'll be right back. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be right back. I need some air. He goes, well, get that basket real quick. And I poured it out, and I set that orange basket right there. It was in the corner. And I set it right there, and I walked down. I was like, now I have to clean up all this fucking blood. You know what I mean? I'm like, I thought, what would clean up blood? And me, I use syringes, you know what I mean? And to clean them, I clean them with soap and water. That kills, like, diseases, or it cleans blood, you know what I mean? So I'm like, just soap and water will work. You know what I mean? I grabbed a bowl, a black bowl.
I think that's the basket she's talking about.
And the dish towel real quick. Made some soapy water and went back in there. And then he was already cutting right there, digging in with the bag, trying to get the heart out. And I was like, why are you doing, what the fuck are you doing? You know what I mean? I don't know what all was said in between us because I was freaking out, like, really, like, my blood was cold. Like, from my head down to my toes, like, I felt fear, just straight fear. I was like, fuck. But that's my cousin, you know what I mean? I'm like, I gotta help him, plus my kids' lives, you know what I mean? It depends on us getting this body out. They're probably downstairs watching and waiting for us to do this, you know what I mean? So I'm like, all right. I'll finish, you know what I mean? I'll just go in there with Michelle. And we wrapped up the bag, put it in the basket, and then I was like, we ain't cutting her no more, you know what I mean? So I grabbed the basket and I took it to the kitchen by the trash can. I set it down, and I went back in, and I just put a shirt on her. And
I just heard I don't know if y'all could hear it because of the audio. You'll be able to hear it when I put the video out later, but I just heard even the district attorney had to take a deep breath.
A sheet from the closet. I seen the iron. I set the iron out. Because I was like, I'm going to fuck these fuckers up before all this is over. Because I was starting to fall out. Like, getting real tired. I was like, I ain't going to be able to do this. Like, I'm going to have to fuck them up or something, you know what I mean? Not Fabian, but Michelle. I'm thinking about Michelle. I'm like, I have to do this in order to get this done because I was starting to fall asleep standing up. And I was like, I wrapped her up in there, and then I was like, come in here, help me real quick. So let's take her to the bathtub, you know what I mean? Let's put her in there. He goes, what the fuck? Why? I'm like, just shut the fuck up, you know what I mean? Just shut up. Let's just do it like this. We'll just throw her in the trunk and we'll just take her up. He goes, where? I was up Cherise Road. We'll take her up Cherise Road. They dump bodies there all the time, you know what I mean? We'll just dump her out and we'll be done. You drop me off at my mom's and I'm good. I'm out. I was like, all right. It didn't happen like that because I was like, oh, fuck both y'all. You know, you did this. You know what I mean?
It's rejecting my comments because I've been commenting too much. Basil's in the kitchen. He'll probably come in here in a few minutes. He hasn't come in yet, though.
And I was scared to go down the stairs because I didn't know if the old dude was out there, how many dudes were out there, or what was really reality. You know what I mean? I was scared. I was like, there's a body half dismembered. And what do I do? You know what I mean? I told him I would get rid of the body for my kids. And I was scared. You know what I mean? I was scared to walk down those stairs. I didn't know if they're going to shoot me, kill me, or come running up in the apartment to kill us. So I was like, fuck it. I was like, told Michelle, come here. I was like, you know, your daughter's in there dead, right? You better go fucking pay your respects. She's like, I'm like,
what?
So it seemed like she knew, like Fabian told her or whatever. Fabian was all, don't fucking do this, Jessica. I went, oh, fuck no. And I smacked her with the hammer. I was like, don't you believe in God? You know what I mean? I smacked her in the face with the iron. He took the iron. And that's when I was like, you know what? Fuck you. If you fucking leave, remember, it's going to be sinners. Sinners going to come fucking and get you. Also, for all the fuck up you just did, motherfucker. And I just stayed beating up Michelle until I couldn't breathe. And then finally, I just let her go. And then when I let her go, she ran out. I was like, they're dead. You know what I mean? Those guys got him on. They went downstairs. I was like, and I'm still in here with the body. So I went in there and I lit the corner of the sheet. And then I'm like, fuck. I started panicking. I grabbed my purse. I threw the CDs in there in case I needed, because my money was gone. I was like, for gas. You know what I mean? I could stop at a gas station, get some gas, take her car, and go to one of my friend's house and get a lawyer. You know what I mean? Until all this blows over. And I was like, all right, I got this. And then I heard, and I was like, fuck. You know what I mean? I didn't know if it was the cops or them. So I was like, I braced myself and I opened the door. And once I seen the cops, it all went out. Like, that's when I was like, I gotta run. You know what I mean? Everything went, like, my brain just started flashing. Like, everything, my kids, my family, everything. That's when I jumped over the second story. And then when he asked me who did it, and I was like, well, that man, there's 3 others in there. You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, I don't know. You know what I mean? Because my mind was racing. Because I knew everything fucked up. I just got out of prison, and I'm going back. I'm going back for something fucked up. For a child. Because when I wrapped her up, I just had flashbacks and seeing my own kids like that. And then looking at Fabian, I'm like, I love him, he's my cousin, but what the fuck did he get into? I was in prison. You know what I mean? I've never burned Mexicans. I don't burn nobody. I may sell a little bit of drugs, you know what I mean, get high, or even prostitute. But I don't burn nobody for dope or do stuff like that. So I'm like, why didn't my family want me around him? Like, what is he really up to?
There's tissues right there. Take your time.
I know I probably missed some parts, but I was tripping. Like, I was not in the right state of my mind. I was under the influence of meth, and I was up for, 2 days?
What more can you tell me about this man that came over?
He was wearing a plaid. He was bigger than Fabian. He had a long sleeve shirt on, dark pants. He had, it wasn't a fade, but his hair was like one length, maybe like a 3 or a 4, all the way around. I don't know if his eyes were dark or if it was just the way I seen him.
Can you tell me about his race? What race he was?
He looked Mexican, the way his accent, he had a little accent.
Tell me about his accent.
He said, well, Fable, and then you and your kids, the way he said you and your kids. And I'm like, and
So
right
he
there.
spoke English?
He spoke English, but like he was either Paisa or Mexican, you know what I mean?
Tell me what a paisa is.
A Paisa is somebody from over the border that just comes here to sell dope, you know what I mean?
Okay.
Like just a runner.
But he spoke fluent English.
He spoke English.
How did he come to know about the department?
So, Horse, this isn't Jessica's daughter. This is Michelle's daughter. The girl on the screen is Jessica. She is Fabian's cousin. Fabian was dating Michelle, and Victoria was Michelle's daughter. Um, if you need me to show you pictures, I can. And I was saying, Granny, I hope you enjoy getting your nails done. It's always important to have me time. I need to go get mine done. Well, I do mine myself, but yeah, having an addiction is no excuse. If that person is real, they know who it is. Well, there was unknown male DNA found, which is intriguing, especially though considering there was no DNA from Jessica found on her body. It's weird. It could be somebody from over the border or something like that. I'm not sure.
That's what I don't know. He just walked in and it's my fault for leaving that door open. If I would have never been high or tripping, that guy would have never killed her because I would never let somebody in like that.
Congratulations.
He didn't look, you know what I mean, rough or, you know what I mean? He didn't seem
You're good.
to come off like that, but then I was tripping. You know what I mean? And the way Fabian acted like he was going to meet somebody, I was like, okay, you know, this is what he meant. Maybe he was going to go meet somebody or he's hiding from somebody. Because why is he just going to leave all day and then leave the girl out there like that? It didn't mean no sense to me until I kept thinking, why? Why would he do this? You know what I mean?
Why would he do it?
Yeah, why? Why would he leave me like that and then leave that little girl like? Why was he not at the apartment? I had dope. I had money. He could have came home and drank and did the drugs, all the drugs he wanted with his girl or whatever. You know what I mean? But why was he gone all day? He didn't need to go to Joseph. I had over a half ounce of meth on me. You know what I mean? I had enough drugs on me. You could have even went and traded some, and you know. But I don't know why he made me stay like there that day. Why didn't he just let me go home that morning? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't he let my mom go pick me up?
When you're saying he, now you're meaning
Fabian.
Fabian.
You know what I mean? Like, I don't know why Fabian would do that. You know what I mean? He knew I was tripping. And when I trip, like, I'm close to my mom. I'm close to my family. I don't lie to them. And when I mess up, I'll tell my mom, like, Mom, because my mom's an ex-addict. You know what I mean?
Is that Lori?
Lori, yeah. So, me and my mom have a good relationship. I can tell her everything I do. You know what I mean?
Have you learned why this man came over? What Fabian did to bring him over?
No, because I haven't got to talk to really nobody on the streets or nothing. And my sister, she don't know nothing. She's like, Jess, you just need to come up off the truth. But I don't know who or
Which
what.
sister is that?
Crystal.
Jamie or Crystal?
Crystal. Jamie ain't into the gang. Jamie's gone. She's pretty good.
You know, that's important, a name here. And a name here said if she was so paranoid, she wouldn't leave the door wide open. If she's waiting for someone, also known as the unknown male, she would leave the door open. When you're on meth, crack, or any kind of uppers, from what I've seen, those were, again, not my drug of choice, but I was around people who that was their drug of choice quite a bit, unfortunately, back in that day. They would stand there, they would lock all the doors, they would lock all the windows, they would like peep out of the blind but like barely breathe to keep the blind from moving so people couldn't see them but they could see out. Yeah, you wouldn't be sitting there with the door open, especially if you was that high, in my opinion.
But Crystal, I'm like, you should have to hear something. But Crystal runs with Mexicans. She runs, you know what I mean? But my sister, I don't know.
Your sister was incarcerated. Crystal was incarcerated when this happened.
Yeah.
Did Fabian talk to you about why this person came over or what he got into?
No. He just seemed really scared. But I would be too, you know what I mean? There's a dead body in there, and I told him, like, what the fuck? I don't know if he really believed me or if he knew it was going to happen, because why would he leave all day? Why would he leave like that and keep telling me he's going to go meet Sinner? Sinner's in prison. Sinner don't even like him.
How did you know Sinner was in prison at that time?
The night before, I looked him up on the website. You know what I mean? It said he was in Santa Fe. You know what I mean? Like, you could probably check my phone, you know what I mean? But then, I don't know, Sunday, Fabian, when he went to Amanda's barbecue, I don't know this Angelo dude, honestly.
Amanda is his ex-baby mama, so he's going to Amanda's barbecue while Michelle's at work, and he's been with Michelle 3 weeks, might I add. They've been living together for 3 weeks at this time.
Like, Fabian stole something from the kids or fucked up, took money out of Amanda's wallet. So at the barbecue, we're cool. You mean, I wonder why Fabian didn't want to go that morning when I left to go to the barbecue. Willie was leaving the hotel room and he's like, hey sis, I want to see you, you know what I mean? I'm all, hey, well, meet me over here. I'm like in Rio Rancho. He goes, me too. I'm all, well, meet me at the Giant. And I told Michelle I got my kids ready because we're going to go to the barbecue. I was like, let's go meet up with Cherie. We'll stop at the store and we'll go to Amanda's, you know what I mean? There's a pool, there's a jumper, there's a grill, you know what I mean? We could go over there. And me and Amanda already planned this, I believe it was Thursday or Friday. Me and Fabian went over there because he's all, do you want to go see Amanda? You know what I mean? We stopped and we got a 20. I was all, let's go see Amanda. I was like, but before we smoke, let's go see her, you know what I mean? So we went over there and like Amanda's like, hey, you're not allowed over here, Fabian. He goes, the only reason why you're cool right now, Angelo's not here and I want to see Jessica, you know what I mean? He's like, all right, whatever. But on the barbecue when we're barbecuing, we're cooking food, me and my kids, all of us are having a good time, me, Cherie, Willie, Amanda, the kids. We're having a good time barbecuing, me and my kids are grilling. And just, it was a welcome home party for me and my kids. Fabian shows up, and then little Ben, I guess Amanda told little Ben to come out and tell Fabian to leave, that he wasn't welcome. He goes, tell your mom, shut up, scandal. My cousin Amanda,
Sorry, who says?
Fabian told Ben, tell your mom, shut up, scandal. Because we call Amanda Scandal, you know what I mean? Because she likes fighting and stuff since she was a kid. So Ben goes back and tells his mom that she's pregnant and she has Angelo's other baby.
I think when she says went to get a 20, well, I mean, I don't know. I took it the way she said it as she was talking about like getting a blunt. Back then, blunts usually were about, I don't know, maybe $10, depending on the time frame. But I was thinking she meant weed, but she could have been meeting something else. I'm not sure. The first thing that came to my mind was like she was getting a dime bag or 20, a blunt. Desert Moon said she was a dental assistant at one time before getting mixed up in drugs. Such a shame. Are you talking about Jessica? Was? That's interesting.
She's like, hey, Jess, hold the baby real quick. And I already knew she's going to fucking beat up Fabian. I was like, Tiffany, here, get the baby. You know what I mean? So I could try to break them up. Well, Amanda hit him and it split his whole eye open. Blood went everywhere. So my kids are all, Mom, go that way. We got this. You know what I mean? So my kids are older. You know what I mean? And we try to keep the peace with that side of the family. That side of the family always fights. My dad's side. So I get Fabian, you know what I mean? I'm like in between Fabian.
Hi, Betty Ross, and yes, Betty Ross. Where do I know that name? Isn't that like George Washington's wife or something? I know that name. Good to see you, and yes, this is Betty.
And Amanda getting her out. Willie rolls up with Tasha. Tasha jumps out.
Hey, Scratch.
His ex-girlfriend, and Amanda and Fabian and Tasha are fighting. So I lean over Fabian because he's on the ground. You know what I mean? And I'm like trying to protect him from the blows, you know what I mean? Because his face is split open. And I'm like trying to help him. That's my cousin. I don't want my kids seeing all this, but it's going to happen anyways, So I got in between them. Fabian gets back in the car. I'm like, get in the fucking car, just leave, you know what I mean? Willie's all, you mean? I haven't seen him in 13 years since my dad died. And then he shows up out of the blue, you know what I mean? As soon as I get out of prison. But anyways, when Fabian left, we all go back in. My kids are like, Mom, we got it cleaned up. It's all right. You know what I mean? I'm all, it's time to take you guys home. You know what I mean? Like, Angelo shows up, and he pulls up, and he has his Hummer, and he opens up the side, pulls out a gun, and I don't know what he says. He's like, clean up this. You know what I mean? 2 cars roll up of his people. And I'm like, fuck. And then when Fabian was leaving, he was, I'm going to fucking go tell my brother Joseph, watch. You know what I mean?
Oh.
I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be a big old fucking fight. And I don't know this guy, Angelo. I just got out. I just barely, didn't even really get to formally meet him. You know what I mean? I'm like, maybe he's going to go after him because Amanda fought with him pregnant, or, you know what I mean? Why did he call his goons? You know what I mean?
Why did who call his goons?
Angelo.
Angelo called his goons?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
That's
know
what I thought.
I don't know who or what, how they're, whatever, but 2 cars rolled up. You know what I mean? And they stayed posted up waiting. And Cherie stayed there. I was like, I'm going to take my kids home. I'll be right back. You know what I mean? Willie took me to take my kids home. We dropped off Mondo, dropped off Tiffany, and then we went back, and I asked Amanda, those guys were there eating in the living room. They wouldn't even eat the food that we made, you know what I mean? I was like, all right, whatever, you know what I mean? But I was like, hey, Amanda, because I know that they sell. I was like, hey, do you think, because Willie wanted to score, you know what I mean? After I dropped off my kids, he goes, hey, I have this much money, you know what I mean? I'll split it with you or whatever. If you want to get higher, I'll help you out with some money, just score for me, you know what I mean? I'm like, all right. And I asked Amanda, I'm like, hey, are you selling any meth or what? She goes, no, go to my mom's. I was like, all right. And I went to his mom, like Auntie D, and she's like, no, I ain't gonna sell to you. I ain't selling or whatever, because she knew I just got out of prison. She didn't want to start me back up selling. So I ended up calling around, calling all my friends on Facebook or whatever, and ended up meeting up with my friends and scoring for him. Well, that night, while I was trying to score, I scored a sack, and we're supposed to meet up with them again to get the rest of it. Fabian, I guess, and Amanda are going back and forth on the phone. And when, I guess, Fabian threatened to call the cops on Amanda, Amanda got me involved. She's like, hey, cuz, I need you to get Fabian not to call the cops on me. Do whatever you have to do. Make sure he don't call the fucking cops on me. You know what I mean? He's been threatening me. We've been messaging each other back and forth, but I think he's going to call the cops. Make sure he don't. I'm like, oh, God. You know, like, I do not need this right now, but... Like, I'm the peacemaker, I'm the oldest cousin, I'm the one that took care of him when my dad died and the family broke up, so I'm like, all right. I called Fabian up, I'm like, hey, what's up? Like, what's the matter? Fuck you, you fucking held me down while they fucking beat me up, and I'm like, no, I tried to save your ass, but anyways, I was like, I'm scoring right now. If you want to get high, I'll be over there in a little while, just make sure you open the door. He goes, you ain't coming back. And I'm like, bullshit, all my shit's there, I'm going back, you know what I mean? I'm gonna go get my shit. And I ended up getting high, and I'm like, Mark Dean called me and he's like, hey, why don't you come over? Oh, fuck Fabian anyways. He ain't gonna open the door anyways. He called back, where are you coming? I was like, no, I'll probably be there in the morning or whatever. I'll call you, you know what I mean? He goes, all right, then I'm gonna go back to bed. You know what I mean? I guess him and Amanda quit fighting on the phone, you know what I mean? Because he's finally got tired and just went to bed. He got tired of waiting for me to come. Because me and Willie drove around smoking, waiting to get the rest of the sack, and we went to Mark Dean's. And we smoked. Willie was supposed to go lay down in the back room, you know what I mean, in the guest room. Mark Dean gave him a blanket, showed him where the room is. Me and Mark Dean went to the room to lay down, and Willie went to lay down. At 7, Mark Dean got up for work. Willie was gone, you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, all right, he bounced. He was high. You want to lay down, you know what I mean? He's high on meth. He probably hasn't been high on meth for a while. And I knew it was good meth because I was high, you know what I mean? Like, I couldn't even really sleep. I was just really laying there waiting for him to wake up. But I don't know if it was Angelo and his goons and he sent somebody, or if he messed.
So the mother, she admitted to selling her child, but it was all kind of a false confession. The person talking right now is cousins with the mom's boyfriend, Fabian. And that is really cool, Indy.
Somebody else. I really don't know. I don't know who this guy is.
And you're referring to Fabian?
Fabian messed up. Yeah, because when he walked in, he asked for Fabo.
How did you find out where the little girl was?
I told him she was in the room.
So you pointed out that she was in.
Yeah, I was like, yeah, the little girl's in there.
How did he even know there was a little girl there?
I don't know. I have no idea. I don't know if he was out there watching or if he just knew or he thought that was Fabian's daughter. You know, I didn't know. Because Fabian has kids everywhere.
Okay. You said Angelo arrived. At what point did Angelo arrive where the barbecue was being held? Can you tell me where the barbecue was being held?
At Amanda's.
Okay.
And Angelo's house.
Do you know Amanda's last name?
Badia.
Badia? Okay. And had you met Angelo before this?
No.
Okay.
And I know Amanda, she dates, you know what I mean? Guys that could take care of her. And I found out Amanda does heroin. And apparently he probably does sell heroin, you know what I mean? But I've been in prison for a while. And And then when I was out on parole, I really didn't mess with nobody because I just didn't want to mess up, you know what I mean? When I went to prison, the only reason why I went is to get sobered up so I could come back out and take care of my kids.
You said Angelo arrived in a Hummer. Do you remember what color the Hummer was?
It was a gray Hummer. There's pictures on my phone.
Okay.
He showed up with,
You said his goons. How many goons?
2 carfuls.
Okay. How many people do you think that was?
Enough to fill up a whole kitchen table.
Can you give me numbers possible?
Maybe 5 to 7.
Okay, so several. Are they all men?
Yeah, all men.
Can you describe the vehicles they arrived in?
One was like a charcoal gray Cadillac, I believe, and another one, I don't know the car, but they're both dark colors of cars. I don't actually remember the color, but I believe like a charcoal gray to a gray.
Okay. And you said when Angelo arrived, he produced a firearm?
Yeah, he did. He opened up, but I don't know. It was probably a Glock. Glock 9.
It's a handgun?
It's a handgun.
Okay, do you remember what color it was?
Black.
Okay, can you describe Angelo for me?
He's a short Mexican, kind of with stomach, medium weight.
Like a little paunch?
Like a little poncho.
Like we all get when we get older?
Pouch, yeah.
Okay, I understand.
Yeah. Shorts, you know what I mean?
Yes, okay. Was that the first time you saw him at the barbecue, or was he there before?
No, that's the first time I saw him at the barbecue.
Okay.
Because I didn't see him when I first got there. Just me and Amanda and my kids, and I just started cooking right away. And I was like overwhelmed. I just got out of prison and I had both my kids, you know what I mean, and my friend with her little kids, and I was a little overwhelmed, you know what I mean?
Describing this incident, do you believe at this time that this is why the man showed up?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Why don't we, I need to take a couple minute break.
Sounds good.
Why don't we take a break? It is 10:20. If you need to use the restroom.
Hold on.
Okay, so it's 10:20 a.m. We're going to go ahead and take a break. Let me turn these off.
Okay.
Okay, again, it is Wednesday, August 22nd,
JDR, good to see you. This woman is Jessica Kelley. It's a long story. It has to do with the Victoria Martens case out of Albuquerque, New Mexico. She committed a homicide and decapitation and organ removal of a 10-year-old girl on her birthday. It's a long story. There's a playlist on my channel for anybody with questions, and you can go through all the interrogations. What made me question this case was that the mother admitted to letting people hurt her child in a sexual manner, and then only got 12 years after admitting all of that, and I wondered why that was happening. My thing is like beeping. I don't know why. I hope y'all can hear me. Yeah, it's moving. Okay. So I FOIA'd the case, and we're listening to audio that's never been released before, that I know of. I mean, it wasn't in court, and I've never heard it.
2018, the time now is approximately 10:39 a.m. I'm Detective Lewis. The same folks are in the room, and we're speaking with Jessica Kelley. Jessica, can I ask you a few follow-up questions on what you just told us?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So let me go through, I've taken some notes, but let me go through a lot of it. I just want to clear up who he, she, they are, so we make sure we're talking about the right people.
Okay.
Almost toward the beginning when we first started, you talked about he and she and then Victoria and you being in the apartment. So just to make sure, who's he we're talking about?
Fabian and Michelle.
Okay, that's the he and she that you've been talking about there. That are in or out, they drive, they come back.
Yeah.
Okay, so we make sure. Talk to me a little bit. You said you were high. Mm-hmm. Was it just methamphetamine you were using during this time period?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I smoked a little bit of weed, I believe, Friday night.
Okay. So it's marijuana and methamphetamine.
Yeah.
Okay. Any alcohol used during this little time period? Okay.
Fabian drinks vodka.
Okay. How about you?
I was drinking a little sips with him.
Okay. How about, and what did you
But
say?
I didn't drink that day.
Okay. The day that the murder happened on the...
Yeah, I didn't drink or smoke. I quit smoking like at 6 in the morning. When I texted my mom and I called my mom, I was done. I was freaking out.
Okay, so the morning this occurred, August 23rd, 2016, the last time you ingested methamphetamine was in the morning?
Yeah, and then actually when I got arrested, I got the drugs back from Fabian at some point,
Okay.
and I had them in my bra. After I got cuffed,
Okay.
I knew I had them on me, so I couldn't put them up because I had a tampon on. You know what I mean? That's what I usually do to take it into the.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Hey, Kit Kat. Jesus. Ma'am. She's telling the DA she couldn't suitcase it because she had a tampon in. Ma'am.
Facility, so I just stuck it in my mouth
Okay.
until I could throw it, and I threw it at the hospital.
At the hospital, you dispose of it?
Yeah.
How much was it?
A little less than a half ounce by then,
Okay.
because it melted in my. I mean, it was just straight in the bag.
Right.
In my mouth.
Okay. Did you ingest some then? Did it leak into your mouth? Okay. So did you get higher? As that
Actually, I was already on that down.
Okay.
So when you start crashing, no matter if you try to get high again, well, with me, I won't. I'll just crash.
Okay.
And I'll wake up high.
Okay.
But I was crashing just, I guess, from everything that went on and from being sleep deprived from the night before because I didn't sleep at all.
Okay. And you described some hallucinations. Can you tell me what these, if you remember what the hallucinations were?
It was just like I'd be on the balcony and I kept seeing a car circle. So I was like, they're like circling the thing. And then I was watching TV and it was like God talking to me. You know what I mean? Like.
So you could hear voices?
No, I
talking to
wasn't
you?
hearing voices
Okay.
or nothing, you know. But I was like, everything I was seeing was like trying to like show me like you're gonna miss out on all this, Jessica. Like if you keep getting high, you're gonna miss out on this life. You know what I mean? It was like just my inner self. You know what I mean? Thinking because I believe in God. You know what I mean? So I'm like, this is my sign. Like I need to cut it out. Like this is gonna be my downfall. Is getting high. I'm gonna lose everything that means anything to me when I get high.
Okay. And you said when you first got out, you made contact with your sister.
Yeah.
Is that your sister, Jamie Hinshaw?
Jamie Hinshaw.
Okay. And at the time, your other sister, Crystal, as we know, was incarcerated.
Yeah, she was incarcerated.
Okay. You also said that you hooked up with a friend, or you met up with a friend named Lori. Did I hear that
No,
correctly?
I told my mom I was at my friend Lori's apartment,
Okay.
and it wasn't. It was Michelle. I didn't want her to know I was with Fabian.
Okay, so you
I was just trying to keep my family happy where I was staying.
Okay.
You know, I was just acting like I was staying in a room because they were going to actually let me stay in the little boy's room.
Okay. And so this Lori, is that a real person?
Yeah, it is a real person. Lori Beck.
Lori Beck. Did you meet up with Lori after you were released?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the first time I actually shot up heroin and methamphetamines together. I forgot. Yes, I did do heroin.
And that's after you were released in
After
August
my
15th?
release.
Okay. And I'm sorry, it's Lori Beck.
Lori Beck.
What can you tell me about Lori Beck?
I've known her for a few years. I met her with one of my ex-boyfriends who used to cook methamphetamines. I met her at one of their houses, one of my ex-boyfriend's houses, and we ended up being cool friends. We ended up going to prison together.
Okay.
And we became good friends. She's like, hey, you could be my girlfriend. I'm like, oh, yeah. You know, I never really dated girls. But I'm like, oh, sure. You know what I mean? Just so I could get back into the dope scene. You know what I mean? Because she knows big people. You know what I mean? I could get it a lot cheaper.
Okay.
You
So
know what I mean?
did you, other than using methamphetamine and heroin with Lori, did you get anything else from Lori? Any drugs or anything else from Lori?
No, I just did one shot with her. Well, I didn't actually do the shot with her because it was Wednesday. And Cherie needed to go to work and she wanted me to babysit her kids. And that's the day I met up with Fabian. Fabian didn't end up having no drugs. You know what I mean? He gave me a clean rig. But he's like, well, buy me a bottle. Because I had $20 from my mom. She gave me $20. You know what I mean? She gave me a bus pass and, you know what I mean, get whatever I needed. Because I just got out. She's like, here you go, honey. You know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, I got $20 and I bought Fabian a bottle. And we were at his friends. We got dropped off at the Downs. And I told Lori Beck to pick me up there. She was like, what are you going to do now? I'm like, I wanted to get high real quick and go to my friends because I got to babysit for her because she just bonded me out of prison, you know what I mean? Like, I just posted bond and, like, I need to, like, pay her back to show her my gratitude for helping me, you know what I mean? Like, she got me out for my kids, so I'd help her out with hers, you know what I mean? Plus, she was going to help me get a job, you know what I mean? And she did. You know, she's like...
It's raining and the rain is kind of loud, so if y'all hear that, I do apologize. Yeah, friends who go to prison together, right. Like, she got a phone call from her sister and, like, was talking to everybody in there. Schnookums, all the things.
Watch my kids and get on the internet. Here's the website. Put your application. As soon as you're done, text me, and I'll have my manager.
Hold on a minute. I'm going to try to turn the volume up another way. Oh, look. Oh, dang it. Okay, hold on. It started over. I got to go. I was at like 40. Hold on. Just a minute. All right. We should be able to hear it real good now. I'm going to go to here.
Did Angelo live where the barbecue was being held? Can you tell me where the barbecue was being held?
Okay.
And Angelo's house.
You know his last name?
Buddy.
Lydia? Okay. And had you met Angelo before this?
No.
Okay.
And I know Amanda, she dates, you know what I mean, guys that could take care of her. And I found out Amanda does heroin. And apparently he probably does sell heroin, you know what I mean? But I've been in prison for a while. And then when I was out on parole, I really didn't mess with nobody. Because I just didn't want to mess up, you know what I mean? When I went to prison, the only reason why I went is to get sobered up. So I could come back out and take care of my kids.
You did not choose to go to prison to get sober. You got in trouble and went to prison as a result of fucking up in your life and getting arrested.
You said Angelo arrived in a Hummer. Do you remember what color the Hummer was?
It was a gray Hummer. There's pictures on my phone.
Okay.
He showed up with,
You said his goons. How many goons?
2 carfuls.
Okay. How many people do you think that was?
Okay, we heard this.
Enough to fill up a whole kitchen table.
I'm going to skip it ahead 3 minutes.
Vodka.
Okay. How about you?
I was drinking a little sips with him.
Okay. How about, and what did you
But
say?
I didn't drink that day.
Okay. The day that the murder happened on the...
Yeah, I didn't drink
The
or smoke. I
23rd.
quit smoking like at 6 in the morning. When I texted my mom and I called my mom, I was done. I was freaking out.
Okay, so the morning this occurred, August 23rd, 2016, the last time you ingested methamphetamine was in the morning?
Yeah, and then actually when I got arrested, I got the drugs back from Fabian at some point,
Okay.
and I had them in my bra. After I got cuffed,
Okay.
I knew I had them on me, so I couldn't put them up because I had a tampon on. You know what I mean?
Oh,
That's
yeah.
what I usually do.
Let me skip that.
If you remember what the hallucinations were?
It was just like I'd be on the balcony and I kept seeing a car circle. So I was like, they're like circling the thing. And then I was watching TV and I was like, God talking to me, you know, like.
So you could hear voices?
No, I
talking to
wasn't
you?
hearing voices
Okay.
or nothing. Yeah.
That's Fabian, I do believe, who you see on the screen right now. They were coming back, and that was during his trial. I'm not sure, Indy. I think he did. Ah.
No, but I was like, everything I was seeing was like trying to like show me like you're gonna miss out on all this, Jessica. Like if you keep getting high, you're gonna miss out on this life. You know what I mean? It was like just my inner self. You know what I mean? Thinking because I believe in God. You know what I mean? So I'm like, this is my sign. Like I need to cut it out. Like this is gonna be my downfall. Is getting high. I'm gonna lose everything that means anything to me when I get high.
Okay. And you said when you first got out, you made contact with your sister.
Yeah.
Is that your sister, Jamie Hinshaw?
Jamie Hinshaw.
Okay. And at the time, your other sister, Crystal, as we know, was incarcerated.
Yeah, she was incarcerated.
Okay. You also said that you hooked up with a friend, or you met up with a friend named Lori. Did I hear that
No,
correctly?
I told my mom I was at my friend Lori's apartment,
Okay.
and it wasn't. It was Michelle. I didn't want her to know I was with Fabian.
Okay, so you
I was just trying to keep my family happy where I was staying.
Okay.
You know, I was just acting like I was staying in a room because they were going to actually let me stay in the little boy's room.
Okay. And so this Lori, is that a real person? Or
Yeah,
just
it is a real person. Lori Beck.
Lori Beck. Did you meet up with Lori after you were released?
Yes.
Okay.
That's the first time I actually shot up heroin and methamphetamines together.
about right
I
here.
forgot. Yes, I did do heroin.
And that's after you were released in
After
August
my
15th?
release.
Okay. And I'm sorry, it's Lori Beck.
Lori Beck.
What can you tell me about Lori Beck?
I've known her for a few years. I met her with one of my ex-boyfriends. He used to cook methamphetamines. I met her at one of their houses, one of my ex-boyfriend's houses, and we ended up being cool friends. We ended up going to prison together.
Okay.
And we became good friends. She's like, hey, you could be my girlfriend. I'm like, oh, yeah. You know, I never really dated girls, but I'm like, oh, sure, you know what I mean? Just so I could get back into the dope scene, you know what I mean? Because she knows big people, you know what I mean? I could get it a lot cheaper.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Did you, other than using methamphetamine and heroin with Lori, did you get anything else from Lori, any drugs or anything else from Lori?
No, I just did one shot with her. Well, I didn't actually do the shot with her because it was Wednesday and Cherie needed to go to work and she wanted me to babysit her kids.
Okay.
And that's the day I met up with Fabian. Fabian didn't end up having no drugs, you know what I mean? He gave me a clean rig, but he's like, well, buy me a bottle because I had $20 from my mom. She gave me $20, you know what I mean? She gave me a bus pass and, you know what I mean, get whatever I needed because I just got out. She's like, here you go, honey, you know what I mean? So I'm like, oh, I got $20 and I bought Fabian a bottle. And we were at his friends. We got dropped off at the Downs, and I told Lori Beck to pick me up there. She goes, well, what are you going to do now? I'm like, I wanted to get high real quick and go to my friends because I got to babysit for her because she just bonded me out of prison, you know what I mean? Like, I just posted bond, and, like, I need to, like, pay her back to show her my gratitude for helping me, you know what I mean? Like, she got me out for my kids, so I'd help her out with hers, you know what I mean? Plus, she's going to help me get a job, you know what I mean? And she did. You know, she's like, watch my kids and get on the internet. Here's the website. Put your application. As soon as you're done, text me, and I'll have my manager pull it. That church's chicken. So I was like, all right, cool. You know what I mean? I'm like, yeah. You know what I mean? I got a job. You know what I mean? I needed that job.
Okay. Can you tell me Cherie's last name?
Cherie Barella.
Barella. Okay. Sinner. Can you tell me Sinner's full real name?
It's John Grosset.
Okay.
I just call him Sinner because that's what I met him as, and that's what I have his tat. You know what I mean? That's my Sinner.
Okay. And tell me about Fabian's relationship with Sinner.
They don't have one.
Okay.
I guess Fabian was locked up with them. I guess Fabian was a porter, and Sinner would make him run stuff, but I guess, I don't know what happened. Fabian's like, well, he don't like me. I'm like,
so Fabian knows Sinner?
Fabian knows who he is from being incarcerated with him. He's never really met him person to person, but he's like, no, that dude don't like me. And Sinner is intimidating compared to who Fabian is, you know?
Okay, so that's your understanding. The only time they knew each other was when they were locked up. Okay, do you know what institution they were in when that happened?
Sinner's been all over, so I don't honestly really know. Whenever.
You know, yeah, she's dating this girl in prison and using her for a plug. And I'm wondering if that's who got assaulted with the mop when she got in trouble when she was in prison for sexual contact with a minor. I think it was her, another girl, and then the girl who got assaulted with the mop. So I'm wondering if she's the girl that was assaulted with the mop or she's the other girl that was in the room watching the girl get assaulted with the mop.
Fabian was locked up with him.
Okay.
I believe.
Okay. You talk about after the barbecue, you're driving around with Willie.
Yeah.
Okay, can you tell me Willie's full name?
William Hollis.
Okay. And tell me about how he's related to all of you.
Well, my dad used to date Janice Hollis, his mom.
Okay.
And, like, we kind of grew up with Willie. Well, when my dad died, like, my dad told Willie, like, that was his son. So when my dad died, I'm like, you're his son, you know what I mean? Like, you're the son that he don't have. You know what I mean? So when my dad died, Willie stayed with me. I was pregnant with my sisters and stuff, and I went ahead and put him in the obituary to be my brother. You know what I mean? And I looked at him as my brother because as childhood we grew up together as brother and sister.
So same father, different mothers?
No relation whatsoever. It was just my dad, like, took him in because his dad was not there for him.
Okay, so you don't think he's a blood relation?
No, he's not no blood relation.
Okay, so
but
he's just considered a family.
He's just considered my brother.
Okay. When you and Willie are driving around at the barbecue, correct me if I'm wrong, you said you met up with somebody and you got a sack. Can you tell us what a sack is, please?
A sack is a bag full of meth.
Okay. And who did you and Willie get this methamphetamine from?
I'd rather not say, honestly.
Okay, we'll talk about that.
Okay, we'll take a break and come back.
Okay. All right. It is 10:48. We're going to take a real quick break. Okay, it is now, again, it's August 22nd, 2018. The time now is approximately 10:50 a.m. Detective Lewis, the same folks are in the room. So, did you want to explain when I asked you who you got the sack from? We had to take a little break. Go ahead.
I got it from the twins, Jessica and Erica Rivera.
Okay. Can you tell me about that?
So they took a break and they told her, you got to tell us everything or you're not going to get this deal. And so she snitched them out too because she wanted her deal. Indie girl, have a good day, love.
That happened. Just walk me through how.
Okay, well, I got my phone, you mean, like Messenger, like Facebook. I'm like, hey, I'm out, what's good? You mean, I messaged everybody. I messaged Roxy, I've messaged a few other people that, like Amanda Freeman and Jessica and Erica and a few other, I'm not too sure who else, but Mandy, I believe, I hit them all up on Facebook. Hey, here's my number, call me, you know what I mean? They know already what time it is, you know what I mean? Like, I do sell or hustle. I am not no big time drug dealer.
Okay.
I just keep my habit up and make sure my bills are paid for my kids and make sure they have what they need, you know what I mean?
Okay. Can you tell me about, so it's Erica and Jessica
Rivera.
And they go by
The twins.
the twins, okay.
Twins,
Are they?
they're twins.
They're twins, okay. Makes sense. And tell me about that. So you contact them somehow on an electronic device, whether it's Facebook or Twitter or your phone.
No, Facebook and then straight through my phone. We
Okay.
called and we're like, hey, well, where are you at? I'm over here. Okay, meet me over here. You know what I mean?
Okay. So walk me through where you met up with them.
The Oasis
What's the Oasis?
parking lot where it's off of Carlisle, right before Montgomery. There's an Oasis. I don't know. It's an Oasis sign by the Circle K. Not
It's a
Circle K, it's
business?
Circle R.
It's a business.
Yeah, it's a
Okay.
business. I don't know. It's just a big sign by the Circle R where it's a
Okay.
parking lot where.
Why did you guys meet there?
Because there's an open parking lot, dark, and we could just park and nobody mess with us.
And how did you get to this meeting with the twins?
I told them where I'm at, and they're like, well, I'm over here, so why don't you meet me over here? They told me to meet me at Circle R. I met up with them. I'm like, hey, what's up? You mean I just got out? They're like, damn, you look good. I let them know about the barbecue, my kids, and everything. They're like, that's good, you know what I mean?
And who were you with at that time?
I was with William.
And is it William Hollis?
William Hollis.
And what were you guys riding around in?
And William's green truck that he drives, a big Ford.
Okay. And how did the Jessica and Erica Rivera get to this meeting at the Circle R?
I called them.
Okay. Well, how did they walk there?
No, they got there in a Hummer with, I believe Jessica's girlfriend. They call her Star.
Can you describe the Hummer a little more for me? Color?
It's
or
just
size?
probably just like Angelo's.
Okay. You remember what color it was?
It was gray, silver, just like Angelo's.
So it's just like Angelo.
Just like Angelo's.
And you said they had another woman with them that goes by, I'm sorry, Star?
Star, yeah, she was a driver. It was, I guess, her mom's truck.
Okay. So it's your mother's
Hummer.
Okay. It's like a riddle.
Yeah.
Okay. And describe
No doubt.
what you purchased from them.
At first, Willie had like a little over $300. You know what I mean? Like 320 or something. And I'm like, I'll pay 108 ball. You know what I mean? That's 300, 3 bags. And they're like, because I already knew they're going to make money off me. You know what I mean? Honestly, I could have picked up a whole ounce for $4.50. So I was like, all right, whatever. You know what I mean? So I gave them the money and they only bring back like about a ball. I'm like, well, what's this? Where's the rest of my money? You know what I mean? They're all, well, here's your money. Like, we could go to this other guy and go pick up the rest of it if you want to wait. You know what I mean? And we could meet up again. And I was like, well, Willie, what do you want? He goes, man, we could wait. We could drive around. We could smoke and then meet up with them, you know? I was like, all right. I was all, do you want to trust them? You know what I mean? He goes, I know you'll get my money. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right. You know what I mean?
So you fronted them the money to go
I fronted
buy it?
them the money,
Okay.
the other 200 to go and pick up 2 more bags.
So it'd be a total of 300 then 200? So a total of 500?
No, it was actually, we picked up a 100 sack first, and then I let them take the other 200. It was a little over 300.
Okay.
So, and then I even asked them if they wanted the extra 20 when they bring the 2 other bags back.
Okay.
But after we drove around,
How long, so you meet with them, you get the small sack for 100? And then you give them the other 200.
220.
How long does it take before you meet up with them again?
It took a good while.
Okay.
Tweaker time, I don't know if you ever heard of that. Tweaker time is whenever. You know what I mean? So we're driving around for a while. And then that's when Martens like, hey, come over. I'm like, well, I don't even know where you live. I don't even know where Pee-wee lives. You know?
You know, that's one thing I'll never miss about when I was abusing 10 years ago is that, like, if you're waiting on somebody to bring you something, is I'll be there. I'm right around the corner. I'm on this street that's like 2 streets away, or I'll be there in 5 minutes and you're waiting 3 hours later. That's what she's referencing. Tweaker time frame. I'll be right there. I'm 5 minutes away. 4 hours later, you're still waiting. Yeah, I hate that shit. I hated that shit. I've been clean for 9, going on 10 years, but
So I'm like, what's your address? I'll Google it, you know what I mean? That's how I get around. I'll Google Maps, you know what I mean?
Okay.
So I Googled his address, and then I couldn't find it at first, and I'm like, oh, getting frustrated because I was high, you know what I mean? I'm like, I got really high right away. I'm like, and then we finally found it. We got down, and I plugged in my phone right away. I'm like, because my battery's from driving around and texting, my battery was going low, so I plugged it in, and I introduced Martine to Willie, and you know what I mean? I call him Willie. Willie. So I introduced him, and we sat there and smoked and stuff, and I told William about Martine. I mean, like, this guy, like, we hooked up Friday, and he's been wanting to hook up with me. He's a good guy. He works, takes care of his kids, you know what I mean? He's a responsible guy, you know what I mean? And I just let him know who he was, and he was like, yeah, I heard you ride a bike, you know? And then he showed him his bike that he's building, and you know what I mean? And I was like, yeah, he even has arcade games for his kids, you know what I mean? And he showed Willie those and stuff. And
This is Martine showing Willie this,
this is
motorcycle and the games.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and they're just talking guy stuff, and because Willie, I guess he's a truck driver now, so they're talking about routes and stuff, and he's like, well, you could come down, you know what I mean? We could kick it, or, you know what I mean? When you're in town or whatever, you know what I mean? Like, and they're talking about different routes that he drives, and because I guess Martine knows about driving because he rides his bike or whatever. You know what I mean? They're talking guy stuff, and finally they call, and they're like, hey, well, we got it. Well, where are you at? I'm like, you're going to have to come get it. And I was like, no, you come to me. Like, I've been waiting for you. You know what I mean?
This is they, or who's
This
they?
is Jessica and Erica.
The twins again.
The twins again.
Okay.
But it was just Jessica. You know what I mean? 'Cause that's the main one that's Star's girlfriend. You know what I mean? So
So Jessica is Star's girlfriend. Okay. Just bear with me if I'm trying to work out the...
I know.
Okay. Can you describe, I'm sorry to go off topic, describe Star for me.
She's a skinny bisexual girl that looks kind of like a boy.
Is she white, black, Hispanic?
She's Hispanic.
Okay. About how old do you think Star is?
Maybe in her 30s.
Okay. Has she ever been arrested or incarcerated?
Yeah.
Okay. So
yeah, I don't really know her I don't know if her name's really Star, though.
Okay. But she goes by Star. Why do you think she's called Star? Does she have any tattoos or anything? Or?
I don't know. She was in the driver's seat.
yeah, so this is to get information. Basically, they arrest a smaller fish to try to get the bigger fish. I'm going to skip forward a little bit and see if we get back into the details of the homicide.
Of Wednesday the 23rd, when you're talking about they left, and we've established that it's Fabian and Michelle.
Yes.
They left the apartment, they came back.
Okay, so I'm going to back it up just a little bit. We're back into the details of the homicide.
She's skinny, Hispanic. She kind of looks like a boy. So Jessica's girlfriend.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So does Jessica meet you somewhere for the second deal?
Yeah.
Where does she
It
meet
was
you?
Florida Mercy.
right off of Twisters. I met him in the Twisters parking lot.
Is this Twisters close to Martine's house?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like just literally right around the corner. That's where Martine goes, hey, there's the Twisters right there. You hear me?
Okay.
Because I was like, I gotta go meet him. What? Do you hear me?
How did you get the Twisters from Martine's house?
Me and Willie went up there.
Okay. What vehicle did you guys take?
Okay.
Willie, are there any other drug transactions? Okay.
Okay,
How much money
we should be
total
good
did
now.
you see Willie with when he came up here to visit?
He said he spent a lot with my cousin Stevie and Adrian.
That's Sinner on the screen. That's the Sinner dude.
He was like, we partied, and if I know my other cousins,
Hey, Queen.
it's like cocaine and alcohol.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Honestly, because that's what we grew up doing, is coke and drinking.
Okay. I want to go back to you're describing the afternoon
Thank you, Emma.
of Wednesday the 23rd when you're talking about they left, and we've established that it's Fabian and Michelle.
Yes.
They left the apartment, they came back. They left. That Fabian left with Victoria, then they came back.
Yeah.
Let's walk through that instead of let's try and use names for me just so I can clarify that. So I'll start you off in the morning. You're saying that morning is the morning you you said that's the last time that you smoked methamphetamine. That's the morning that this incident happened, am I correct?
The incident actually didn't happen in the morning, it happened in the night.
But what I'm saying is, it's that same
Yeah,
day
same
that you
day.
stopped.
Yeah,
That you stopped.
it just all went.
Okay. So go ahead and walk me through again, and we'll stay away from they and them. Let's talk names. Talk about, just walk me through. So after last, describe what a bowl is.
Okay, it's an oil burner. They call them oil burners. It's a bubble.
Okay.
I filled it up. I poured a lot in there. You know what I mean? I was smoking, and finally I just started getting really tripped out. You know what I mean? Like.
So is a bowl the actual pipe?
It's a pipe.
That you put?
Yeah.
And describe that pipe for me. Is it metal, glass?
It's a glass pipe with a hole in the top for the vapor.
Does it look similar like the old crack pipes we used to see in the old days?
I know the old crack pipes, but with a bowl.
With a bowl. So
like
it's
a bubble.
a glass stem with a bubble.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And where does the methamphetamine go?
I usually put it to the stem and blow.
Blows it into the...
Yeah, I'll to clean whatever went down the pipe. You know what I mean? And then I'll melt it down, blow again for the cut, and then I'll hit it.
Okay. And describe what it means to me.
And how the smoke that comes from the methamphetamine when you heat it up.
Okay. So when you're saying a bowl, that's what it is?
Yeah.
Okay. So the last time you do a bowl is that morning, then you have the conversations with your mom where you tell her I'm having issues and I've gone off the wagon essentially? Yep. Okay. At that time, who's at the apartment?
Victoria. I didn't see the little boy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? But I don't know if he was there or not because honestly I wasn't really paying attention to her kids.
Okay.
I was out there.
And who else was there that morning?
Fabian and Michelle.
Okay. So obviously it's before Victoria goes off to school.
Yeah.
Okay. Tell me about that morning. What's going on in the apartment that morning?
They were sleeping and I went and woke up Fabian.
Okay. What happened when you woke up Fabian?
He just, and I'm like, well, here's a pipe here. You know what I mean? Just toke this, but I'm freaking out. Just please, just hold my hand because I'm freaking out right now. You know what I mean? Like, I'm scared. You know what I mean? Like, I'm really high, my heart's pounding, and I'm tripping, Fabian. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you a question. Had you done methamphetamine before this time?
I did some Thursday and Wednesday.
Let's say way back, years before. Have you done methamphetamine?
I used to,
okay.
But what?
Did you have a reaction like this before?
No.
Okay. What was different about this time? And I'm talking about around the time of the incident, as opposed to years before.
The hallucinating.
Okay.
Thinking that I was seeing messages being told to me like, you need to stop what you're doing, you know what I mean? On the TV.
On your previous occasions, way back, you hadn't experienced that?
I've never ever experienced a hallucination like that. Okay. Never in my life.
Okay. So after you wake Fabian up, walk me through what happens next.
They get up and get ready.
Who's they?
Michelle and Fabian.
Okay. How about Victoria? What's Victoria doing at this time?
I think she was getting ready. I was in Fabian and Michelle's room.
Okay, so you're in their bedroom.
Yeah, I'm in their bedroom.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And I'm just like reading that book. You know what I mean? I'm thinking like something's going to show me something in this book that's going to help me. You know what I mean? It's going to help me snap out of what I'm going through. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm like, if I write this stuff, maybe I could go back and see like, I'm really tripping. You know what I mean?
Okay. What happens next?
After that, they left.
You stay?
Michelle and Fabian left with Victoria. I guess they took her to school.
Okay.
And they did something because they're gone for a little while, you know what I mean? But who knows? I could have been tripping, you know what I mean?
What were you doing? Why everyone? So at this point, Victoria, Michelle, and Fabian have left the apartment?
Yeah, I'm there alone.
You're there alone. Okay. And what are you doing while you're alone in the apartment?
I folded some clothes in the morning, you know what I mean? And then I just kept going back and forth with the book and then looking out the front door and out the balcony. Kept pacing, looking, thinking, like, I just felt like I was going to get ran up on.
Okay.
Being ran up on is like either my people are going to come in and fucking get me because I'm messing up on drugs and make me stop and take me home, or the cops are going to come in and bust me for having dope and...
So you're having paranoia issues?
Yeah.
Okay. How long will a normal, when you ingest methamphetamine like you've described, you smoke it, how long will the effects last for you?
For me, for about 2 or 3 days.
Okay, so that one bowl could last you for 2 or 3 days? Is that powerful?
Yeah.
Oh, wow, okay. So tell me what next you remember about. So, Fabian, Michelle, Victoria, they're all gone.
They left.
Folding clothes.
Yeah, my mom calls, you know, I'm talking to my mom, I'm letting her know I messed up and everything. And then she's like, well, honey, just come home. I'm not mad at you, you know, you could come and sleep on the couch. You know, you're welcome here, you know, but you know, your brother, you know, because my brother, he hates me and my sister. Hi, me and Crystal.
What's your brother's name?
Thomas.
Okay.
He hates to see me like that because growing up, I used to take care of him.
Okay.
You know, I was that big good sister, and when I first had my kids, I was that number one mom, you know, until I got heavy into drugs.
Okay. Can you tell me Thomas's full name?
Thomas Martin.
Okay, does he have a nickname?
Boo Boo. I call him Boo Boo.
Okay. Okay, so keep walking me through what's going on then.
Okay, well, I'm on the phone with my mom. I don't know if Fabian called or if I heard him come out, because he keeps the radio blaring like it has a system, you know, being loud. He's loud. So I'm on the phone with my mom. As I'm walking down the stairs, my Uncle David calls. I switch over lines and he's like, hey, what's your PIN number? Right. And honestly, I'm like thinking, Fabian, I'm thinking, you guys are trying to do some intervention shit and it ain't gonna work. Like, fuck y'all. I'm gonna just fuck with y'all back. You know what I mean? Because Fabian does that to me when I get high around him. He messes with my head. You know what I mean? Knowing he can. So I'm like, ask God for it. You know what I mean? My Uncle David starts yelling at me and I'm just like, click. You know what I mean? And I click back over to my mom. I'm talking to my mom as I'm walking down the stairs to Fabian and Michelle's car as they're outside. Fabian asked me for some gas money. I pull out my wallet. He's seeing me. He's like, I was going to give him the 5 and then I gave him a 20. I gave him a 20. He's like, all right, I'm going to go meet him and stuff and I'll be back in a little while. I'm like, who? You know what I mean? He's like, Sinner, dude. You know what I mean? I'm like, all right, dude, whatever.
At this time, you've obviously learned Sinner is incarcerated.
Yeah, but...
Have you told Fabian where Sinner is?
Well, he knew he was because I kept telling him, like, Sinner's going to get out for a furlough. You mean, like, for 2 days, and he's got to go turn himself back in Clayton.
Who's saying that?
I'm telling Fabian this in between those days. You know?
Was he supposed to get out on a furlough?
Yeah, he was supposed to get out on a furlough, and me and him were supposed to get back together because he got mad at me while he was locked up because I sent pictures to another guy.
Okay.
You know what I mean? So me and him were...
How did you learn that Sinner was going to get out on a furlough?
Through Sinner.
Okay. I mean, how?
I believe a phone call before I even got locked up.
Okay.
I was talking to him while I was on parole.
Okay. So when you go down, there's this gas money exchange. What time of day is that? Is it dark, light?
It's early in the morning.
Okay,
early.
So it's early in the morning.
There was a guy outside, like, doing the lawns and the...
Maintenance guy? Okay.
You know what I mean?
Where's Victoria at this time?
She must have been at school.
Okay, so it's after she goes to school, but it's still in the morning.
Yeah.
Okay, what happens next?
Afterwards, they left. I went back in the apartment. I'm still tripping, you know what I mean? I'm going back and forth. Smoking cigarettes.
Smoking cigarettes, okay.
Yeah, smoking cigarettes. I already threw after Fabian left, I threw the drugs and the pipe in the trash can because I'm like, either it's a setup, it's just a setup. In my head, I'm being set up for something, you know what I mean? So I threw it, and I didn't want it in my possession. And if it's in the trash, it's not possession's 9/10 of the law, you know what I mean? Like, I can't get in trouble for it, you know what I mean? So I threw it in the trash. And I didn't want to...
You said they left. Who left?
Michelle and Fabian.
Okay, and how did...
If the police came in and found drugs in the trash, they would charge the homeowner if nobody owned up to it, I do believe. But if she's high at the time, they're obviously going to charge her. Nobody else is high.
They leave.
In Michelle's car, Fabian was driving.
Okay, can you tell me what that car looked like, please?
10, 4-door.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm not too sure.
So Fabian and Michelle, they come back, get gas money, they leave.
They leave.
You were just hanging out in the apartment, kind of smoking cigarettes.
Yeah.
Still, don't let me put words in. Still this paranoia going on?
Yeah, still paranoia, and then back and forth with my book. You know what I mean? The Anchor to the Soul book.
Okay.
So, bad girl, it can, one line or one bowl or whatever could keep you up for 2 to 3 days, but you would keep getting more and doing more. And some people would end up staying up like 7 days or whatever. You would still want to keep doing it, even though it does keep you up for so long.
I mean, and I'm writing in it, and have the news station on. I believe it was ABC or something. You know what I mean? And I was just tripping, just straight tripping.
Okay.
Like, I was afraid to
I don't think so.
get high or like step out of character to get caught up again. You know what I mean? I did not, whatever I was doing, I did not want to get arrested ever again. You know what I mean? When I got high, I was really paranoid. I didn't want to be in trouble for selling. I didn't want to be in trouble for EBT fraud or nothing. I just didn't want to be caught up again. I'm like, I'm done with this. I can't do this no more. Like, I was fed up.
Okay. So you're watching the news. So our best guess is somewhere around noontime? The news comes on?
It was ABC.
Okay.
It was ABC's, and you know how sometimes ABC plays, like...
It's so you're paranoid. I've heard people think that the person who groomed me from the age of 13 used to do uppers, and he was a very violent person. He would like start smacking me and hitting me because I didn't do that. So he said because I didn't do it, I was trying to set him up with the police. He would think that I had installed cameras in the house and I was secretly recording him. Those things just make you super paranoid, and I don't know. I never got enjoyment out of being paranoid and like looking out the window. I don't know. Some people do, some people don't. I got energy from what I did, and I would clean the house, and it made all my pain go away. And all my issues, it made it all stop. But yeah, they get really paranoid. They stare out the window. They think that you're recording them. Somebody's always recording them. The TVs talk to them. Everything is subliminal messages and things like that. From what I've seen. Now, of course, that's not going to be every single person, but for the most part, that's what I've seen.
In the middle of the actual news part.
So we're not sure what time it is.
I'm not sure what...
Oh, yeah.
So what goes on next?
But I'm okay. That was Lord freaking like 19 years ago. So we're good. But thank you guys. Yeah, they keep filling the bowl. Like they want to keep smoking even though it'll keep them up for 2 or 3 days. You would keep smoking and keep scoring and things like that.
I'm just chilling in an apartment and stuff, and then when Fabian, he comes back before Victoria, and he's like, hey, I'm gonna go to Joseph's, I'm like...
Okay, so now for a minute. Fabian comes back to the apartment.
Fabian and Michelle come
Okay.
back to the apartment.
And he says he's going to go to...
My cousin Joseph's, his brothers.
Okay, do you know Joseph's last name?
Gonzalez.
Okay. And what does he say he's going to do with Joseph's?
He says he's gonna go pick up an ounce, but I know it's a bluff. He was probably trying to act cool in front of Michelle, like he's some big dealer, because his cousin's out, because I outshow him, you know what I mean? Like...
Okay. So he's telling you he's going to get an ounce of drugs?
Yeah, like...
Okay.
I got this, I'm gonna be just like you, and
how's Michelle acting about this?
just following Fabian around.
Okay.
You know, like, that was... She just followed him, you know what I mean? She was real quiet. That was, I guess, her love, you know?
Hey,
What
Abraham.
happened next?
They left again, and when they came back, they had Victoria with them.
Okay. So Michelle and Fabian leave, supposedly to go to
Go meet
Brother
somebody.
Joseph's.
Yeah, go to Joseph's and go meet him.
Ounce
Yeah.
is what we're told. They leave for a time period, and I know it's difficult. Can you tell me how long they were gone before they came back? And you said with Victoria?
It was a good while because I had like a full pack in that morning, and I was already like 3 cigarettes, so it must have been pretty late.
Okay. And so they come back with Victoria.
Yeah.
Okay, what happens next?
They weren't there maybe 5 minutes, you know. I don't know if they even just came back to see what I was doing to try to see if I could get money or to hit the pipe or what, you know, on the cool before he went to go do whatever he was going to go do, or I don't know, because he was just kept leaving, you know, and not really staying there. And I was in Michelle's bathroom, in her room, in her bathroom, and I was straightening my hair with her straightener and putting on my makeup.
Okay.
And the little girl comes in there, she's like, I want to do my hair. I'm all, not right now, you know what I mean? Because I was tripping. I didn't want to be around all the little kids, you know what I mean? So I was like, no, go in there, you know what I mean? Just go in there. And she went in the other room, and they ended up leaving.
Who's they ended up leaving?
Fabian, Michelle, and Victoria, they left.
Do you know where they went?
No.
Okay.
Supposedly to go meet somebody. Fabian had to go.
3 left.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fabian had to go meet somebody. I'm like, whatever. You know what I
Is
mean?
Fabian telling you why he has to go meet this somebody?
No.
Uh, Red Mood, you should be proud of yourself. That's a hard thing to stop using. So I'm proud of you.
But he had me thinking he was going to meet Sinner.
Okay. At that time, you know Sinner
Yes.
was locked up.
Yeah, I knew he was, but then I was like, what if he did get out first furlough and he's
Hey,
looking
Joe.
for me today? You know what I mean? I was like, I don't know though, but I was tripping. You know what I mean? I was paranoid, and honestly, I believe I was hallucinating.
Okay. How long was Michelle, Fabian, and Victoria gone?
They were gone for a while, and then that's when I kept going back and forth, and I seen little Victoria outside on her scooter by herself.
Do you know how she got back to the apartment?
No.
Okay.
I didn't even ask her because she's a kid. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna be all like, you know what I mean?
Are Fabian and Michelle in the apartment when you see her on the scooter?
No.
Okay.
Their car's nowhere in sight. They're nowhere in sight.
Did Victoria talk to you about where they were or anything? Okay, what happens next?
I told her, well, why don't you come inside? You know what I mean? Because I was not gonna leave her outside by herself. You know
Was it dark or light at this
It
time?
was still light.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It was even still light. Yeah. And we went up, as we're going up the stairs, there's two girls downstairs. I guess they knew who little Victoria was. And they're asking her what she wanted for her birthday. She's like, oh, just anything or just whatever, you know? And that was it, you know what I mean? She's like, oh, yeah, okay, you know what I mean? They're okay, bye, you know what I mean?
Abellis, oh my goodness, thank you so very much for gifting 20 memberships. I'm not able to see who those went to right now, because I'm playing my the sound from my phone and I can't access the live. But thank you so much for gifting 20 memberships. That was so very sweet and supportive of you, and I really appreciate that so very much. Thank you. If you guys were gifted from Abellis and you are aware you were gifted, please tell Abellis thank you, and I will grab the Polar Express and pick y'all up on the way to Speculation Station. Thank you so much, Abellis. I really appreciate that. That was so sweet of you. Thank you so much. Bad Girl said meth sounds awful. Why would you want to feel that way? I thought restless leg syndrome was bad. Yeah, some people enjoy it. I don't know. I've never gotten enjoyment out of it. Well, I've never done it, but I've never seen the enjoyment out of it, I should say. But, I did get enjoyment out of opiates, and a lot of people ask the same question, so I guess it just depends on your body chemistry and your personality. Yeah, that was super nice of Abellis. Bellis is so sweet. Thank you guys so much. You guys are amazing.
We go up the stairs, we go inside, and she goes and sits on the couch, turns
Yep.
on the TV and her cartoons.
Me too.
This is Victoria.
This is
sits on the couch.
Victoria.
Okay.
She's on the couch, and she pulls out her little black book, her homework book. I'm like, are you hungry? And she's like, no, I'm not hungry. You know what I mean? Well, do you want something to snack on? Well, what? I have some sunflower seeds in my purse. So I pulled out sunflower seeds and gave her a bowl to spit the seeds in, gave her the bag of sunflower seeds, and she sat there and she's eating that, doing her homework. When she was done, she went to her room, she put on her pink pants, her pink shirt, and she's like, well, I'm gonna go ahead and go to my room. You can go ahead and watch TV now, you know?
So when she's on the couch doing her homework, eating sunflower seeds, do you remember what she's wearing?
She was still wearing some shorts and a shirt.
Is that what she was wearing all day long, or she had changed when she...
No, she didn't change right away. She changed after she did her homework.
Okay, so after she finished her homework, she goes into her bedroom, that's when she changes?
Yeah, she changed into some pink pajamas.
Pink
Yeah.
pajamas. Okay.
Well, like some pajamas, like, kind of like sweats, but not like sweats. Pajama pants.
Okay. And they're pink? Was it a... I remember my kids were little, it was like a onesie.
No, just the pants, the pink pants,
Okay.
and a pink shirt with the cutoff. That's what I ended up putting back on her, is her shirt. I did put on her pants, I just couldn't look at her no more. That's why I wrapped her in the sheets.
Okay. So, correct me if I'm wrong then. So after she does her homework, she has some sunflower seeds. She goes into her bedroom. Victoria goes into her own bedroom. Does she leave the door open or close it?
She left it kind of cracked, but
Okay.
you know what I mean? Not all all the way shut, but not all the way open.
Okay, can you tell what she's doing other than you said she changed?
She was sitting on the floor watching TV.
Okay, so she's watching TV in her own room.
Yeah, she's watching TV in her own room.
Okay, how long is she in there before this person shows up?
Maybe 20 minutes, 30 minutes. I don't, honestly, my time that day was, I don't remember the times, and I wasn't looking at my phone at the time or nothing. You know what I mean? I was just really paranoid.
Do you recall, was it dark or light from this person?
It was still light.
It was light from this person who arrived. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's talk about, just walk me through again very slowly from the first time you notice that this person has showed up till he goes in, then we'll stop when he enters Victoria's room. Let's just talk about that time period.
He comes in.
Where he walks in, and then there's this conversation, and then once he gets to the door, we'll stop there. Okay, so just walk me through that, please.
Okay, the door's a little cracked. He just walks in, you know what I mean? I'm like, he's like, hey, where's Fable? I'm all, not here, you know what I mean?
I'm sorry, who does he ask?
Fable. That's Fabian.
F-A-V-O?
Fable, that's his nickname.
Nickname is Fable, okay.
Fable. You know what I mean? I'm like,
So obviously this person knows Fabian well enough to
yeah,
know his
he knows,
nickname.
yeah.
Okay.
Hey, Ed.
So
He asks, the first thing out of his mouth is, where's
Fable?
And what do you say?
He's not here.
You tell this person he's not there.
Yeah, he goes, well, who is? You know, who is? With his, he has a little accent.
Okay.
You know what I mean? I'm like, just me and the girl in there, you know?
Okay,
And then
you point toward
I
Victoria's.
point toward Victoria. He goes, all right, and he starts going towards her door. I'm like, all right, I grab a cigarette and I go to the balcony. You know what I mean?
Okay.
I'm smoking a cigarette.
Do you see him go into...
Yeah, I seen him go into Victoria's room.
Okay, and what do you hear when he goes into Victoria's room?
I didn't hear nothing. I was on the balcony, but I didn't hear.
What do you see when he goes in?
He just goes in. I just thought he wanted to go talk to her.
What about her?
Yeah, my husband does have it. But the thing is, he like he'll lay on his stomach and like lift his knees up and then just drop them on the bed, like all night long. I have to ask him to stop because it keeps me up. But he said it feels really good on his feet. I think it's because he has to wear steel-toed boots at work and they're so heavy. So I don't know. He does it like all night, even when he's asleep. It's really annoying.
Victoria's door, what happens with Victoria's door?
It was still just halfway.
It's cracked, okay. So you're on the balcony of the...
Betty Ross, I submit a Freedom of Information Act, and sometimes you have to pay for them, sometimes you don't, just depends. But yeah, I use Freedom of Information. What causes restless leg? A lot of things. I think his is caused by the weight of the steel-toe boots on the top of his foot.
Been smoking a cigarette, correct? Mm-hmm. What do you hear and see?
I don't hear and see nothing. I finish my cigarette. As I'm throwing it out, he walks out.
Okay, how long does it normally take you to smoke a cigarette?
Between 5 to 15 minutes.
That long, 5 to 15 minutes. So this man is in Victoria's room for 5 to 15 minutes. Mm-hmm. Okay. As this man exits, what do you see or hear?
He just comes out and he's like, hey, Top Fable, he fucked up and he knows it. And you too, you got something to clean up in there. If you want your life and your kids, you clean that up.
Okay.
And he said, I'm like, okay. You know what I mean? Okay. You know what I mean? I didn't really believe him. I didn't believe him. So he walks back out. You know what I mean?
Hey, Shraddha.
And I wait for a little bit. I'm like, and I go creeping to the front door and open it, go look out, see if I see him, see Fabian, or see anything out of the ordinary.
Do you see
nothing.
Do you know how that man got there?
No.
Did you see any vehicles?
No.
When you looked out there looking for anything?
No, the only there's just 2 empty parking places where Michelle usually parks her car. And maybe it might be the neighbors, but it didn't look nothing out of the ordinary.
So nothing jumps out at you?
No, I was like,
So you go check outside first, then what do you do?
and then I went back in to go check on Victoria.
Okay.
She's laying down on the floor.
So let's go real slow. As you're approaching Victoria's room, describe to me what you see.
The door's cracked.
Okay.
I push it open.
Okay.
I look at her. She's laying down like she's sleeping.
Okay. So describe where she's laying to me, please.
She's literally laying on the floor right in front of her TV.
Okay, she's on the floor. Mm-hmm. Okay. Is she face up or face down?
Face up.
Okay.
She looks like she was asleep.
Okay. Tell me why you had the impression she was asleep?
Because her eyes were closed and she just looked asleep.
Okay. Describe how she was dressed.
She got 44 years because she testified against Fabian. Yeah, I'm sorry for your loss, Betty, but Florida has sunshine law, so you could probably get the information really easily from there.
She was in pink pajama pants and a pink top.
So she was in the same pink pajama, pink pants you saw her in earlier. Okay.
It is really
Describe what you
fascinating.
see.
She had a little blanket on the side of her, and I believe I don't know if it was a pillow, but she was just laying there. You know what I mean? So I checked her pulse
How did you do that?
with my fingers right here
On her neck?
on her neck.
Okay, what did you feel?
I didn't feel nothing,
Okay.
and then that's when I knew that guy was being real.
Did you see anything out of the unusual other than she's on the floor? Did you describe what you saw? Just walk me through. Start at her feet. Just kind of think back. Start with her feet. Just think, did you see socks, shoes, and just kind of work all the way to her head. Tell me what you can remember saying about her.
She had no socks on, pajama pants, top, and that was it.
Was it?
Blanket wasn't on her, it was on the side of her.
Okay.
What color was that? It was a little tan blanket, it looked like a baby blanket.
Did you see, describe what you saw on her face.
She looked peaceful, she looked asleep.
Okay. Describe her hair.
It was like kind of wavy.
Okay. Was it as you saw it when she went into her room to go to bed? Okay, so really nothing out of the
Nothing
ordinary.
out of the ordinary, it's just she was sleeping, it looked like.
Okay, so she's on her back. Looks like she's sleeping. Where are her hands?
On the side of her.
Just down to her side. Okay, how about her legs?
Her straight.
Straight down. Okay. You described that she's wearing her pink kind of pajama pants and a pink top. Describe the clothing, how it looked.
Hold on, y'all. Basil's here.
It just looked like she was just laying down on the side. It didn't look out of the ordinary. It didn't look like it was taken off of her. But it was like how she had it. It was just she was laying down.
Okay. Okay. And so you checked the pulse on her neck, and then you felt nothing, correct?
I felt nothing.
What did you do next?
Then I went into the living room and I just started looking around because all of a sudden it felt like the blood drained out of my body. Like I just got really scared. I'm like, I must have been Mexicans or the Baisas or something, you know what I mean? Because people don't just go in people's house and kill people, you know what I mean?
Okay.
That I know of.
So this was not random.
This is not random, no.
Okay. This is this
Well,
person.
why would he ask for Faden?
Okay.
You know what I mean?
So it's not random.
It wasn't random. It was like somebody was coming to retaliate on Fabian, and if Fabian wasn't there, they probably thought that was his child.
Okay. So before this all happened, can you describe the interior of Victoria's room for me? What kind of kid was she?
Messy kid.
Messy kid.
Yes.
So remember the room being
A mess.
okay. After this occurred, when you went in, you checked her pulse. Was the room different or the same?
It was the same. It was still messy, clothes, toys everywhere, bed not made.
Okay. So that was normal for Victoria.
It was normal.
Pretty messy.
Honestly, I guess when I first got there, her mom didn't really have money. I don't know if Fabian was using all of her money on alcohol and drugs, but she didn't have toilet paper. She didn't have soap. She didn't have food in the fridge. You know what I mean? I met up with one of my friends, Arnelia Williams. I call her Nia. And she gave me some toilet paper and
Basil came in, so I had to step away for a second.
a pillow from the hotel, some towels, and some work shoes, because she's like, I know you're going to probably try to get a job right away, so she helped me out with that,
Okay. How did you, how much, after you got released from DOC, how much stuff did you have? How much did you bring from DOC?
What?
Like, did you have personal items that you brought with
I
you?
bring just a bag with my letters and my pictures and just my Anchor to the Soul book and Inspiration Daily.
Did you have a suitcase you brought that in, or?
No.
What do you
bring in a pink bag that they gave you from the prison, like a homemade bag.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
And it had everything off my little board, because in prison we have this little picture board you can put all your pictures on, and everything that people gave me from prison, like little things and like little pictures of stuff, and my pictures, everything that was on my board, I bring home with my mail.
Once you got home, back here to Albuquerque, did you have more property that you collected from?
Yeah.
Tell me about that.
I had all my stuff at my mom's, you know. I left the halfway house and I took everything that I had from the halfway house to my mom's.
What kind of stuff was that?
My clothing, makeup, jewelry, shoes.
Okay. All your personal items.
All my personal stuff.
And how was that stored? How did you?
I had this like a clear tub with the top because you could have those at the halfway house.
Okay.
That's what I had. All my clothes that I folded.
Okay.
And then I had a bunch of clothes hanging.
Okay.
So on Saturday, after my son's game, Fabian's like, "Hey, where you at, Mom? I'm at my mom's, but you're gonna have to hurry because they can't see me leave with you, you know. But I have my son with me, and I have to go pick up my daughter." He's like, "All right, don't even trip, cuz," you know what I mean? I'm like, "Oh, you know what I mean? I'm stressing, but I want my kids, and I want them, you know what I mean?" So I'm like, "Cool, I'll pick them up, and I'll go back over there." I had my EBT card. I stopped at the store after I picked up, you know what I mean? So
does Fabian drive to your mother's house and pick you up?
yeah, he had some guy with him though. I guess he was with him running around because that morning, Saturday morning, when Fabian dropped me off at Bullhead Park for my son's Yaffle.
What's your son's full name?
Armando.
What's his last name? Gomez, okay.
So I went to my son's game, you know what I mean? Like, that's my son. If I could make it, I will make it, you know? So before we went there, we stopped at the Giant. I picked up snacks for the game because I knew my nephews were going to be there. So I picked up some candy, some sunflower seeds, bottled waters, and some Gatorades for my boy, you know what I mean? Got Fabian something to eat, got me something to eat, and got some snacks. Pee-wee called as we're driving to the game.
Can you tell me who Pee-wee is?
Flavio.
Okay.
He has a shop off Alcazar.
How do you know Pee-wee?
My sister met him years ago, and he ended up being a good friend.
Okay.
And anyways, he called. I was like, "Why don't you just go over there?" Because Pee-wee would put Fabian to work, and he could earn some money, you know what I mean? I'm like, "Go over there," you know what I mean? And plus, Pee-wee smokes, and he drinks beers, you know what I mean? Fabian will be comfortable over there. I'm like, "Go there until I'm done with the game, and I'll call you," you know? Also, before we stopped, I was like, "Stop here real quick at McDonald's. I'll just grab him a burger and some fries and take it to him, make sure he eats," you know what I mean? Because that was Crystal's boyfriend at the time. So I'm like, "Make sure he eats, take this to him," you know what I mean? Here's some Gatorade and stuff. Got half my cigarettes, put them in the box. I'm like, "All right, laters." You know what I mean? I had him drop me off. I didn't have him drop me off right in front of the park because I didn't want my family seeing that I was with Fabian.
That's the park when you're watching your son?
Yeah, the Bullhead Park.
Okay.
And I do my son's game and stuff, and I leave with my brother. My mom goes with my nephews because she has to drop them off and stuff real quick, and we all meet up at my mom's.
Where does your mom live?
In a trailer park off of Central.
Okay.
And my boy, you know, he has this big duffel bag of all of his gear and stuff, so I get to my mom's, and I talk to her, and I'm like, "No, my friend's coming right now," you know. She goes, "Okay, honey," you know, like, "I'm here if you need me," you know. And my brother's like, "Hey, it's good to have you home, sis," you know. I was like, "It's good to be home," you know.
Okay.
And his little friend Ryan stays with my mom, so I'm like, "Hey, I love you too, little brother," you know what I mean? And I'm like, "But I gotta grab some stuff real quick," you know. I got my Jordan slides and.
So I do have a picture of Pee-wee. Somebody sent me this. I think it was glitter. Hold on, we'll talk about Pee-wee. I have to go through my pictures real quick that we have for lives. Talking about the case with the kids, Jack and Lily. There. Flavio Antiquio. I'm not even going to try it. This is his obituary. Pee-wee, known as Pee-wee by family and friends, 51 years old, died unexpectedly on Sunday, November 24, 2019 in Albuquerque, New Mexico. The beloved son, brother, father, grandfather, and uncle was born on November 16, 1968 in Mexicali, BC, Mexico. Flavio is survived by his mother, brothers, sisters, daughters, grandchildren, nieces, and nephews, and is predeceased by his father. He's the one who owned the shop, Pee-wee Customs, that she's referencing. And they talk about how he got one of their vans and like completely destroyed it and like tore it down for parts and things. He was into substances too, evidently.
like a few of my things real quick that I could just throw in Fabian's car so I could have clothes and stuff to get ready.
Okay. So you don't take all of your belongings out?
I don't take all my belongings, but I took a box of, there's 2 Jordan boxes, makeup, my jewelry, my junk, you know what I mean? And then my big tub, and then all my like t-shirts and stuff and my bras. That's what was hanging in the little boy's closet.
Okay. What did you put the t-shirts and bras and clothing that were hanging?
They were hanging. I just grabbed them and folded them over and put them on top of the tub and carried them out real quick.
And that's Saturday after the football game?
Yeah.
Okay. What do you do after that? So Fabian comes to your mother's house. He's with another guy.
Yeah, he's with another guy, I guess.
You know who that other guy was?
He was a dark little Hispanic, Mexican-looking guy. He does heroin.
Okay.
And I'm like looking at, are you fucking serious bringing this fool around? My mom's, my kid. I'm like, hey, where do you go? You hear me? We need to drop you off. Well, I was all, drop it off at the casino. I don't care. You know what I mean? Okay. I'm like, I know, just drop him off at the casino.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, we dropped him off at Sandia.
Sandia? Went all the way to Sandia?
Yeah, because we're going to the apartment to take my stuff. And so I can stop at the grocery store real quick because I'm waiting for my daughter to call to pick her up.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Because when I got...
Your daughter is?
Tiffany Gonzalez.
Okay.
So when we drop him off, or we go to the apartment real quick to drop off my stuff, Fabian lets that guy go into the house to use the bathroom, and I drop off all my stuff, you know what I mean?
Which apartment did you drop stuff off at?
At Michelle's.
Michelle's, okay.
I put my...
And so the guy with Fabian goes into Michelle's apartment?
Yes.
Uses the restroom? Okay, what happens?
And then all of us leave, and we go to Smith's where Michelle works. And I ran in. I told my son to stay outside, make sure Fabian stayed outside and didn't leave me. I'm gonna stay in the car with Fabian real quick. I'm gonna run in and grab some stuff for some hamburgers for tonight. So I ran into the store. I got tomatoes, burger buns, hanger meat, and onions and stuff for burgers and a bag of Doritos, so I could cook for my kids. So I got that stuff, and we dropped it off at the house, and we went and picked up Tiffany. Or we dropped that off. And then we dropped off him at the Sandia. I'm all, I don't care, just drop him off anywhere, you know? We put some more gas. I had some money. I put some more gas, and we went and got my daughter.
That's Tiffany?
That's Tiffany.
Okay.
We went to all the way on 82nd Street, picked her up. You know, she was already ready. I mean, as soon as we pulled up, knocked on the door, she came running out with her bags, you know?
Okay.
So we went back to the house.
Okay.
To the apartment, Michelle's apartment.
Let's kind of shift gears. Let's talk about the barbecue. Okay.
Okay.
And Amanda, what is your relationship to you? And
She's my second cousin. She's our second cousin.
Okay, so they're second cousins. And this is Amanda Padilla. Correct?
Yes.
And at the time, she's dating somebody named Angelo that you described for us, kind of the Mexican guy with the, as we described it, the kind of the paunch. Do they have any children together?
No, Amanda was pregnant with their first child.
Okay. Does Angelo, this boy we talked to, little Ben?
Yeah, Benjamin Sanchez.
Benjamin Sanchez. And who is Benjamin Sanchez?
That's Amanda's son.
Okay, but not from
Angelo, no.
Okay.
It's Ben Sanchez, his son.
Okay.
That's Anna and Ben's dad.
Okay, and Ben Sanchez, but lives with Angelo and Amanda at this, where the barbecue occurred?
Yeah.
Okay.
With Anna and little, Nana. I call her Nana. I believe her name's Lissa. She's new, you know what I mean? She's only like 3 or 4.
Okay. How old is Ben?
Ben's maybe 7, 8.
Then or now?
Now, or then.
Okay, so he may be close to 10 now?
Yeah.
Okay, and Anna, how old would Anna be?
She's like 11. She's shaving her legs. She told me she shaved her legs for the first time. She thinks she's grown. It's like Auntie Jess, you know?
So you've got at least, Amanda's got 3 kids.
3 kids there.
So you have Ben, Anna, and Nana. And who else? Let's get to we'll start the barbecue. How did you first learn there was going to be a barbecue?
Thursday, it was Thursday. Me and Fabian got the car. He dropped off Michelle. And he's like, hey, let's go to Amanda's. We went to my Uncle David's real quick. Got a little bit of weed.
And Uncle David, is he a true uncle?
Yeah, he is.
Do you know Uncle David's last name?
Chavez.
Okay.
Yeah, that's Uncle David. You know what I mean? Like, he dated my aunt. They had a son together. And he's been part of the family since we were kids. You know, he's Uncle David.
Okay. And so you and Fabian or at Uncle David's, and go ahead and continue.
And we go to the neighbors to score 20, you know. I had
20 of
meth.
Okay, so one of the neighbors there also sells.
Yeah.
I've kind of been down there and been to Uncle David's.
So y'all were right. It was a $20 bag of meth, but why did she need to buy $20 worth of meth when she had just bought $100 worth of meth or a half ounce or something to that effect? Y'all were absolutely right. I thought it was green, but it wasn't. I don't know, bad girl. I don't think so. Yeah, I've heard that.
That whole neighborhood
Is crazy.
Okay, all right, fair enough. That's a good way to put it. Okay.
It's a South Valley. I'm just saying.
Okay.
You never know what you're gonna find out there.
So, does somebody get in contact you about a barbecue?
Thank you so much for saying thank you. And it's nice to meet you.
No, we went to Amanda's and me and my friend were gonna just go to a park, you know, that weekend. I even told my sister Jamie, all of us, we could go to a park, and I was like, we went to Amanda, she goes, I got a grill, I got a pool, I got everything here for the kids.
So Amanda Biddy offered her place for this
party.
Okay.
But, you know, she hasn't seen me, and Amanda are close, you know. That's my little cousin, you know, I help raise her.
So that's how it all starts?
Yeah.
Okay. So, if I get this correct, as you told me earlier, you and your two children, Tiffany and Armando, are at Michelle's apartment the day of the barbecue. In the morning. You contact Willie Hollis.
Yeah.
And where do you meet? You say Willie takes you and your children to the barbecue?
Yeah.
Where do you meet up with Willie?
We meet him at a Giant. Michelle took us to go meet him, you know. She left the kids with Fabian, and she takes us. The first Giant we went, he wasn't there. I'm all, maybe it's the other Giant. And I was like, but I don't know where it's at, you know what I mean? Because I'm not familiar with that part of town. I never really in that part of town, you know.
Okay.
So we go to the other Giant, he's there, you know. I throw my kids' bags in the back of his truck, throw my kids in, and I hug him and tell Michelle why.
Is that the first time you actually had physical contact or saw Willie?
Yeah.
Okay. Had you had contact with him on any other way?
Like the night before, we were talking, you know.
On your phone?
On my phone, like when he first came into town.
The first time you actually hooked up with him was that
that Sunday.
Okay. So describe this. We're at the Giant. You've got your kids, Willie and you, and what is he driving again?
Green Ford, his old granddad's truck.
Okay, the truck.
It's a green Ford.
So what do you guys do next? The four of you.
I called Cherie up, you know, I'm like, hey, we're on our way over. She's like, all right, I'm waiting, you know, me and the kids are ready, you know. I'm like, all right. She goes out, when we get here, we'll just leave the kids here and we'll go to the store, you know.
Okay.
I'm like, all right. Well, we get there, my kids are not going to leave my side, you know. They're like, no, Mom, we're not staying. No, we're going with you. You know, I'm like, fine, okay. You know, I'm like.
So do you go pick Cherie up?
Yeah, me, Willie, and Cherie go in Cherie's van with my kids and her kids. We go to the Smiths right there off of I don't even know. I think it's University.
Okay. Is it near Cherie's place?
Yeah, it was near her apartment at the time. And we go and we get everything that we need for burgers. Me and Cherie half the bill, you know. She pays for half and I pay for the other half. When we leave, we go to Amanda's.
Okay, who goes to Amanda's?
My sister Jamie didn't go because her and Amanda butt heads. So.
How about when you leave Cherie's? How do you get to Amanda's from Cherie's?
Okay.
Vehicle.
We jump in Willie's truck with Willie. Me, Tiffany, and Mondo and Willie are in Willie's truck, and Cherie and her kids are in her van.
Okay. And Cherie has how many kids?
3.
Can you give me their names? You know their names?
Leah, Ryan, and Benito.
How old's Leah?
She's about 10.
Okay.
About 10.
How about Ryan?
He's probably about 5, 6. The other one was about 3.
It's pretty.
Oh my God! They were held at Wednesday.
So we got about 20 minutes left. Hannah said she just made a story out of the evidence to benefit herself, in my opinion. And yeah, that's basically what Fabian's lawyer said. Because remember, she's had 2 years to work out this story and make sure it made sense before she gets questioned about it.
So you, your son and your daughter and Willie are in his truck? And then Cherie with her 3 children are in her van?
Yeah.
What color is the van?
White.
Okay, what kind of van is it?
Soccer mom van.
Okay, fair enough, different color. And you
It's
said
white.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so the 2 different vehicles all loaded up, is that when you go to Amanda Padilla's?
Yeah, but before we go there, we drive by my old house where I grew up with my dad to show my kids. Willie's like, let's drive by the old house, you know? Old memories, you know? So as we're driving, Cherie's following us like, where are we going? You know what I mean? And she notices.
Cherie know Amanda?
Yeah.
Okay.
Cherie's been my friend since.
Okay, long time.
We've known each other. We've fought, cried, and everything together, you know?
Close.
So we're close.
Okay.
So we drive by my old house as like where I grew up to show my kids, and really wanted to drive by and see how the house looked, and I did too. You know, it's been years since I passed by my old house where I grew up, you know?
You know, I was looking at the poll just a second ago, and we're at 7% said yes. And I was thinking, you know, I wonder how anybody could believe her story. But to be fair, she's being really detailed about names, places, events. She's being honest about her drug use and things like that. So I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence after seeing that poll.
My dad was like the light of my life, so we go by that house and we go to Amanda's.
No.
And then we all get down, you know.
Okay, so the 8 of you get there. Who's at Amanda's when
At
you
the
guys
time,
get there?
it's Amanda and Anna and Ben and little Nana.
Okay. Do you see Angelo at that time?
No.
Do you see Angelo's vehicle that you described? I think, does the Hummer?
Yeah.
Okay. How's he not there if his Hummer's gone? Or Hummer's there?
No, his Hummer wasn't there when we first were
Okay,
there.
wasn't there? Okay. Is there anybody else besides Amanda, her children, you and your children, and Cherie and her children at that time?
No.
Okay.
In between the barbecue, I guess, you know what I mean? We start cooking, me and my kids. We start on the grill. But first I made the salad with Amanda, you know, I'm talking to her in the house and stuff. I made the salad and cut up all the stuff and got the burgers and everything seasoned and got everything to go out to the grill. Amanda, I guess, went out while I was doing that, started the grill to warm up, and we went out there, started cooking. Me, Willie, Cherie. Cherie's little cousin showed up.
Do you know what her name is or his name is?
Valerie. I believe it's Valerie.
Cherie's cousin?
Yeah. She's a twin. There's a twin. Her twin's dyslexic, but I don't know if it's Valerie. I can't remember.
Okay.
But she shows up. She got dropped off, you know.
Okay.
And we're all, you know, eating. The kids are swimming and jumping on the jumper, you know. We're having a good time. But my kids, they did not want to leave my side, you know. They're like, I finally got my mom, you know.
Hey, Justice Jane, thank you for being here. Hey, I need you to shut that door because that TV's on. Thank you.
So we're doing the barbecue thing. Angelo shows up for a little while. That's when the Hummer, you know.
Okay, so let me get this right. Angelo is not there when you first get there, but he shows up.
Back up with Elijah Griffin.
With Elijah? Who's Elijah Griffin?
Some dude that, I guess he kicks it with him. I don't know. I grew up with him. Me and Cherie went to school with him.
Where'd you go to school with him?
At Harrison.
Right there.
Because we seen him with him. And we're like, hey, what's up? You know, like, hit us up. Like, we haven't seen each other since middle school, you know. It's been like 20 years, you know. But he didn't look too good, you know. You could tell he's been on heroin and stuff. And he just lost a daughter, like, not too long after I seen him, like a year or two before. He lost a daughter to a car accident. So, you know what I mean? We understand why he felt like that, you know. So we're like, hey, you know, talking to Elijah and stuff. And then...
What does Angelo show up in?
His Hummer.
Okay.
They left. They ended up...
How long do you think they stayed before they left?
A while. We ate and stuff, and Fabian showed up.
Okay, so Angelo's there when...
No, Angelo ain't there when Fabian shows up.
Okay, so but Angelo...
Comes back.
Oh, okay. Let me work through this. So let's go back to the part where three sets are there. So you, your children, Cherie, her children, Amanda, her children.
Yeah.
And then Cherie's cousin Valerie's there.
And Willie.
And Willie, I'm sorry. And then Angelo shows up before or after the food is cooked and everything's
Before.
ready?
We're cooking on the grill and stuff.
Okay.
He goes to a shed or something,
Okay.
gets something, he leaves.
Okay.
You know?
Did you have any inclination where he's going? Did anybody say what he's doing?
No, I don't ask questions. You know, honest to God, like, I know what it is. A lot of us hustle in the South Valley, and I pretty figured he's probably doing his thing.
Okay.
You know,
So at
he
least
didn't
you had-
accumulate that house and all he has just by working, you know.
Okay. What do you think he does?
He sells drugs.
Okay. So you had a conversation at least with Elijah Griffin. Did you have any type of conversation with Angelo at that time, the
No,
first time?
no.
Okay.
Like,
Did you get introduced to him or anything?
We passed through the kitchen and she goes, "Oh, I'm Angelo." Amanda's all, "Yeah, this is my boyfriend," you know.
So just introduction.
Just real quick, because he had somewhere to go, you know, and I had burgers and kids to get to.
Okay. Does Angelo and Elijah eventually leave?
Yeah, they left
What did they leave in?
the Hummer.
Okay. And then walk me through what happens next. You got Angelo, Elijah leave in the Hummer. The same people we've talked about are there. Food's being cooked at this time?
Yeah, food's cooked. You know, there's a lot of burgers, a lot of kids, you know. So me and my kids are cooking. We get all the burgers and everything, and then we take it to the front. Amanda has this, like, built-in porch with the marble little table thing for barbecues, you know. So we put all the food out, you know, get all the food together, me and Cherie. Amanda's inside. She has Angelo's baby, you know. She's back and forth.
The little baby.
There's a little baby, you know.
Okay.
He's like
Is
a couple
Fabian
months.
there yet?
Fabian ends up showing up while we're all making plates, you know. He shows up with the camera, you know what I mean? He's wearing one of my shirts that says hustle. I'm like, you got into my clothes, you know what I mean? Like, whatever, you know what I mean? Poor dude, you know what I mean? I'm like, all right, whatever, you know? So he shows up, he's like, "What's up, cuz?" Nothing. I'm like, "Make you a plate," you know? I didn't know that they really were fighting that bad.
Okay.
So little Ben comes out and he goes, "Hey, my mom said you're not supposed to be here for you to leave." He goes, "Tell your mom to shut up, Scandal."
So this little Ben came out. Ben Sanchez, I believe it is. He comes out and he tells Fabian
that he has to leave.
That Amanda
He
Padilla
said his mom
tells him to leave.
Yeah.
And then Fabian
refused. So Ben went and told his mom.
Okay.
She comes back.
Where are you when all this is going on?
I'm right there outside with all the food and all the kids, me and Shree, all of us are eating, you know? So Fabian's there too. Amanda comes out holding the baby. She goes, "Here, hold the baby." And right when she handed me the baby, I knew what she was going to do.
Okay.
You know what I mean? As soon as she handed the baby to me, I said, "Tiffany, here." You know what I mean? Amanda hit Fabian. I tried to get Fabian out. You know what I mean? I'm like, "No, this ain't happening. Nope, not in front of the kids." You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, because you're so great. You want to protect the kids. JDR, I'm just talking about the story in a whole, as in a whole, like the whole of the story. Sorry, fumbling my words over here. I don't know. I said no, but she's very accurate with like names and events. We've got about like a little over 10 minutes left of it. It seems to me like they're more concerned about like trying to take some of these dealers down and things, the way they're asking questions specifically about the dealers. I mean, they talk about Victoria some, but not a whole lot. It's a bullshit story to minimize her actions. Yeah, and also keep in mind this is happening 2 years after the incident. Now, also adding to that, this entire 2 years she's been in jail. Like, and when you go to jail, I've only been, for a short amount of time, no more than like 90 days. But time stops when you go to jail because, I mean, there's nothing, like you're locked up. You don't do anything but replay what happened to get you there and like your life as a whole up to that point over and over and over again in your head every single day. So it's not only that it's been 2 years since this happened that she's had to come up with the story, but she's replaying scenarios in her head. Well, what if I say this? Will that work? Well, what if I say that? Will that work? No, that won't work because that doesn't sound right and that doesn't make sense. But I could say this and this makes sense, is more than likely, in my opinion, what she's been doing for 2 whole years. So yeah, it sounds legit. It sounds accurate, but I think she has planned this like every single last every single last portion of the story, she's very much thought out and planned, in my opinion.
So I steer him to the street, you know what I mean, towards his car. Amanda comes, you know what I mean, pissed, you know what I mean, because I guess he stole some phones or something and turned them into a machine and took something out of her purse, money or something.
How'd you learn that?
From Amanda.
Amanda told you,
Yeah,
okay.
she goes, yeah, little fucker stealing from my kids and shit, you know what I mean? I don't want him around. He ain't no good. I fucking try to help him out and this is what he does. You know what I mean? I'm like, I understand. You know what I mean? I'd probably sock him too if he did that to my kids, you know? But I'm like, gotta keep the peace, you know what I mean? I'm over here staying with Fabian and this, I was like, this all can't be happening, you know what I mean? So I'm like, all right, get Fabian to his car. As I'm getting to his car, Willie and Tasha roll up. Because,
So
okay,
I thought Willie
Tasha,
was at the,
yeah, he was.
Okay.
Tasha calls and needs a ride. She's walking.
Okay.
Okay, Tasha likes to drink and she prostitutes or whatever, you know what I mean? Well, she needed a ride and she wanted to come to the barbecue and I'm like, well, come, because she used to be my real close friend, you know what I mean?
It's possible. Sanid? I think it's very possible. Yeah, there's a whole playlist with all the interrogations and stuff, and I'm going to add this video to it. There's also another 14 minutes after this that they ask her about something else, and I'm going to put that on the end of the video.
Like, we were friends. So I'm like, go pick her up, you know, this is where she's at. Just go down Coors.
Who did you tell?
Willie.
Okay. So
I was
you tell
gonna go
Willie
with him,
pick
but-
up. What's Tasha's last name again?
Miller.
Miller, okay.
Well, he goes and picks her up. They come back. I guess Fabian and her are on good terms.
Yeah.
So she's drunk, you know. She's drinking a bottle of vodka.
Tasha's drunk.
Tasha's drunk.
Okay.
You know what I mean? And she just sees Amanda fighting with him, so she comes, you know, right along with Amanda. And they just start trying to hit him. Well, they're hitting him, you know what I mean? And I'm trying to, you know what I mean? I'm like, hey, no, you know what I mean? You guys stop. Both of you, you know what I mean? Stop. You leave, you know what I mean? I get Fabian in his car, we go back in, and I guess, I don't know if Amanda called Angelo or if he just came back and then Amanda told him what happened.
Did you hear Amanda say the same?
I just know that when he showed up, he went to the back room, she told him what happened. And
Did you hear that? Hear her describing what happened?
yeah, and I was like, oh.
How was Angelo acting when he heard
Just
it?
like, what? Like, mad, you know what I mean? That's his woman, like, he's over here fucking around at his house. After he stole from his woman and the kids, and he comes back to his house unwelcomed. You know what I mean? And starts all this at the barbecue. So, yeah. He ends up going to his car.
Which car?
His Hummer.
Okay.
Pulls up this fender thing, pulls out a gun.
I'm sorry, a fender.
I don't know, like, in front of a Hummer, there's this thing, I don't know, he lifted it up. I don't know if it's the hood or what, but he
Like
lifted
a storage compartment type?
I don't know.
Okay.
I don't know if it...
Front end of that?
Yeah, front end.
Okay.
He pulls out a gun and he's like, fuck
He
it.
tucks it in his waistband
Yeah.
behind his back?
Yeah.
What does he say then?
He got on his phone. Elijah, he was doing something, but Elijah was just sitting, you know what I mean?
So Elijah comes back with him?
Elijah was with him, you know what I mean?
Okay.
They-
So Elijah's seen all this too?
Yeah, Elijah's seen all this, you know what I mean? I'm like,
And you saw Angelo
like,
get on his
yeah.
cell phone?
yeah, he got on his cell phone.
What does he say?
I don't know what he said because I was like, I gotta get my kids out of here.
Okay, why did you think you had to get your kids out of there?
Shit was about ready to go down.
Tell me why you thought that.
Because when Fabian was leaving, he was, I'm fucking gonna call my motherfucking brother. Watch, I'll fucking be back.
What would his brother do?
Joseph, he'll probably come and kick some ass, you know what I mean?
Okay.
But,
Does Joseph have a reputation?
yeah, kind of.
What did he do when he was younger? Was he
He was a gang member. He was from 5 Points, you know?
serious?
Yeah, he was. He shot my dad before.
Okay, so he's
He's
serious.
serious, you know what I mean? Like, so he's like, I'm calling my brother Joseph. We're gonna be fucking back. I'm like,
How did Angelo take that?
he just got quiet, went to the back room, and that's when I was like, hey, Willie, give me a ride, take my kids home, you know? She's all, I'll clean up everything here, and, you know what I mean? I'll wait for you to come back, and we'll go. You know
So
what I mean?
Fabian saying he's going to go call his brother Joseph is not an idle threat.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm like, I just didn't want my kids in the middle of bullshit. You know what I mean? Especially just getting out of prison. I have them, you know what I mean? After all this time and bullshit happens, you know what I mean? I didn't want my kids around it. So I took Mondo home and...
So just so I'm clear, when Elijah Griffin is with Angelo, when he comes home and learns from Amanda Padilla that there was this incident at the barbecue. And that's when Angelo retrieves the firearm, the handgun, from the front of his vehicle, puts it in his waistband behind his back, and you see him get on his cellular phone. This is Angelo gets on his cellular phone. What's Elijah doing at that point?
She's just sitting there, but I seen that, and when I seen that, I was like, I gotta go.
Was Angelo there when Fabian made the remarks he was with his brother?
No.
Did you hear anybody relay that information to Angelo?
Amanda probably did told him what happened. She
Probably. Did you hear it?
No, I assume.
Okay. And then Angelo is on the phone, and that's in front of you, is that correct?
He got on the phone.
Could you hear what he was saying?
No,
on the phone?
I split.
You got away from
I was like, I gotta get my kids up. It's already gonna be 6 o'clock. They gotta be home.
Okay.
Time to go.
Okay.
Check out time.
Your history with the family and everything, you sensed it was time to get your children out of there.
Yeah.
Okay, what happens next?
Me and Willie, I'm like, let's take Tiffy home, you know what I mean? And he was like, let's make it fun. Just before we pull up to Tiffy's house, he stops his truck and gets out and goes, get the front seat, I can't drive, I'm drunk. My daughter goes, what? You know what I mean? Goes, get in the front seat, hurry up. She goes, all right. You know what I mean? She gets in the front seat. She puts her seatbelt on. She looks at my son in the back seat and she goes, it's only for a block, you know what I mean? So Tiffy's getting happy because we're making her drive,
So she's driving Willie's truck?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she's driving it up. I'm like, don't go on the curb. And she goes up on the curb, you know?
So about Michelle, I think Michelle put herself before her children by allowing men into the house, and I don't think that she was of the mental capacity to ever have custody of those children at all. But I don't think that she knowingly let men come in and out of the house just to have relations with her child. I hope not.
She's like, this is how you used to do it, Mom. I'm like, oh my God, these kids, you know what I mean? But it was fun. And then we go and take Mondo home.
Okay, so Tiffany and Mondo live at different locations?
Yeah, they have different dads. Different dads, yeah.
So after you drop off both Tiffany and Mondo, what do you and Willie do next?
We go back to barbecue.
What do you see when you get back to the barbecue? Is this the same location where everything happened? Okay, what do you see when you get back there?
She's already packing up all the food and stuff.
Okay.
And that's when Willie, on our way back, he's like, hey, can you pick up for me? Like, I want to get high, you hear me?
That's when he starts
I was all, I could try only get you meth, you know what I mean? Like, I don't do the coke thing no more, you know what I mean? Like, I don't even know how to get that.
Was that Willie's choice, was coke?
Well, that's what we did when we were younger, you know what I mean? Like, honestly, but we've done meth because, honestly, my dad used to cook meth, and, like, it's nothing new to our family, you know what I mean? Honestly, it's like smoking a cigarette meth, you know what I mean? So I go back and I ask Amanda, you mean like, hey, do you got anything?
I think that's what this all boils down to her family. Like she just said, smoking meth is like smoking a cigarette. That tells me about everything I need to know.
Yeah, I asked Amanda if she had any meth to sell.
What did she say?
She's like, hey, I don't sell that. I have heroin. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, I don't want that, you know?
Okay.
I was all, but who does, you know what I mean? Because honestly, my family, all of us do something or the other. She goes, go to my mom's. That's the reason why I'm on, you know what I mean, the bracelet.
That's the Auntie D.
Yeah, that's Amanda's mom.
So before we get to that, so when you get back to where the barbecue occurred at Angelo and Amanda's residence, who's there at that point?
Angelo and two of his cars of his friends. There's about 5 to 7 people. I'm not really too sure. I didn't really like count. I just seen that, you know what I mean?
Is Elijah there?
Yeah, Elijah's with them.
And this is where you describe the 5 to 7 people show up?
Yeah.
Okay.
And they all go inside the kitchen.
Right.
Okay.
And they eat something. They didn't even eat what, you know what I mean, that we had for the barbecue. Usually, you know, people show up and eat what you have there. No, they eat what my cousin had for them or whatever, you know, and then...
So Angelo, Elijah, and this 5 to 7 men that are somehow associated with Angelo and Elijah, they're there. Do you hear any of the conversation with any of them while they're there?
They were quiet.
Okay. You're kind of indicating quiet. What does quiet mean? Like,
they were just eating whatever, you know what I mean? They're just quiet about
so you didn't get any vibe from them, any indication?
No,
okay.
I just knew that they did their thing and we did our thing and I'm leaving. You know what I mean? Honestly, I'm like, I'm out.
Okay. Let me ask you a question. The person that showed up at the apartment, was he among this 5 to 7 people, or Angelo or Elijah?
I don't know. Honestly, I can't answer that.
Okay, fair enough. Obviously, it's not Angelo.
No, it's not.
Obviously, it's not Elijah.
No, I would know them.
But you're not sure if this
Because
one of the men that showed up, this 5 to 7.
See them like face to face. I just seen them. You know what I mean?
Okay. So what happens next? After you see these men, they're in the kitchen eating.
Okay. Well,
what do you and Willie and Cherie?
Okay, Willie and Cherie are in front. She goes, "Hey, can you go grab Ryan for me? He's in the back."
That's Cherie's asking you.
Yeah, to go grab her son. You know what I mean? So I go back there. I grab her son, and then as I'm grabbing her son, little Anna's like, "Well, I thought you were gonna stay the night with me, Auntie." I'm all, "Not tonight, honey." You know what I mean? I didn't want to tell her I'm not gonna be around right now. You know what I mean? I was
Why
like,
did you want to be around then?
Cause I just didn't want to be around all that, and plus Willie already asked me to go score for him. I gotta go do that, and I could make money off that. You know what I mean? I could make me something. You know what I mean? So honestly, I did it. I seen it as a come up. So I'm like, I'm gonna go handle this. You know what I mean? And I didn't want to tell Anna, I'm gonna go score and go get high and go do this. So I'm like, oh no, not tonight. You know what I mean? Maybe another time, honey. You know what I mean? So we leave. Cherie's leaving.
Okay, so Cherie and her children leave about the same time you and Willie leave?
Yeah, they're leaving with us. You know what I mean? I help her load up the food.
Do you ever see Cherie again in person after that?
No.
Before you're arrested? Okay. Do you talk to her on the phone anymore?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, they tried to call me that Monday, I believe Monday night.
Okay.
Monday, and I was ignoring them because I was high.
Okay.
And they knew it.
And so after you and Willie leave, that's the detailed discussion we got into where you met up with the twins and did the purchase, the first purchase, the second purchase, then you went to Martine's house. Was there ever a time that Martine and Willie went to his shop that you recall that?
Oh, no. That's a Pee-wee shop.
Okay. That late night.
Yeah, we just went to Martine's. He never met Pee-wee.
Okay. Did Willie and Martine ever leave to go anywhere and leave you behind?
No.
Was Fabian there at that time?
No.
Okay. Did you become aware of some conversations or maybe some text messages between Fabian and Amanda after the barbecue? Tell me about this, please.
Well, when we were driving around, Amanda calls me and she's like, "Fucking Fabian," you know what I mean? He said he's gonna call the cops on me for fucking that bullshit, and you just need to make sure he don't call the cops, please, cause, you know what I mean? Make him fucking snap and not call the cops, you know what I mean?
She's trying to use an intermittent calm things?
Yeah.
Okay, did you talk to Fabian after that?
Yeah, I did.
Okay.
I called him and
what was his demeanor, Fabian's
he was
demeanor?
pissed. He was like, "No, fuck that. You even fucking helped him. You know what I mean? You held me down." I'm like, "No, I didn't. You know what I mean? I tried to save your ass."
Okay.
Also, but I'm trying to get something right now, so when I get it, I'll be there. "Oh, no, you're not." I'm like, "Yes, I am." You know what I mean? But I didn't end up going because Martine called. I was like, "Well, hell with Fabian." You know what I mean? I'll just go to Martine's.
Let me ask you a question. Angela makes this phone call, and these 5 to 7 guys show up. Did you associate that with the threats Fabian was saying?
Yeah, he had his friends there in case Fabian came back.
Okay. Correct me if I'm wrong. I thought you said earlier you saw some of these friends do something in the front part of the house. Is that?
They're eating.
Okay, so you just saw them eating.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, when they pulled up, yeah, they were all talking, you know what I mean, and then they went inside, but nothing like.
Who would have seen these 5 to 7 guys? You, of course.
Me, Cherie, Willie.
Did Willie have any contact with them?
No.
Did Cherie?
No.
So she saw them though?
She saw them though.
Did it seem like Amanda knew who they were?
Amanda did know who they were. It was her house and her boyfriend.
Did you see her interacting with these 5 to 7 men?
No, not really. She just stayed in the back with the baby.
Okay. Did Ben see these men?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Ben and Anna?
So pretty much everyone there is going to see these guys show up.
Yeah.
Okay. Why don't we do this, guys? It's about noon.
Sure.
Why don't we just take a break? We can let's order
Lunch.
lunch in. Okay. That sound fair?
Sounds good.
Let's take a break and see if we can wrap this up after lunch.
Sounds great.
Okay. It is now 11:57 hours, and we're going to go ahead and take our lunch break.
So that was the end of that audio. There is a 14-minute one that I'm going to add to the end of it when I put it out. But what it sounds like to me is I think that they're going back to the barbecue because they're believing her story and thinking that somebody did come in to get Fabian and that that person was at the barbecue and it was something to do with the barbecue, especially considering that allegedly he stole from Amanda's house and things like that. I think they're thinking that Fabian did something at the barbecue, and then if somebody did come back to the house to hurt Victoria, it really was in retaliation for what Fabian did, more than likely at the barbecue. Interesting. Recounting the day of the event and her, Jessica's testimony, they have cameras all over the entire area. If a legit MM or Mexican mafia or Mexican murderer or torturer, they would have seen them driving in and out. Maybe, probably, I don't know. I mean, it's on the testimony, yeah. On the day of the barbecue, there was probably a lot of people from lots of different places there. I don't know. Yeah, that's some crazy stuff to talk about. It is just craziness. Well, it's been a long one, y'all. I appreciate y'all listening to all that with me. I will come live tomorrow. It will be at 12 noon my time, which will be about an hour and 30 minutes before I'm usually live. I'm going to dual stream with True Crime Addict 8, and we're going to talk about Stephen Stearns. So I'm looking forward to that. I will see you guys tomorrow. Thank you all so very much for the support. I really, really appreciate it. You guys are amazing. I love our speculating family so much. Thank you all so much for being here and listening to this craziness with me. And I will see y'all tomorrow. I hope y'all have a wonderful evening. And if nobody has told you, you are important, you are enough, you are special, and you are loved. And I will see y'all tomorrow. Bye.
Listen up, I gotta tell you, there is something you should know. I have never really liked you at all. I cannot hide it anymore. I've been thinking about the future, trying to forget about the past. So many ways that I could change for the better. Don't even know where to begin. If I allow myself to dream, will it be as good as it seems? Pull me out of this place in the middle, in the middle. Nothing more to embrace in the middle, in the middle. If I try to climb up the wall, everyone can see when I fall. Take me up into the mountains, send me off into the wild. Misery is still a path I would choose if the alternatives are worse. I guess it's time to find a friend, one who will stick by to the